Beginning with a gentle golden wind and light rain, the master of ceremonies, with a single stroke, surprises the world. This video is purely for entertainment, and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting, and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101, The Immovable Demon God, Changing His Shape. Watching Zihanayu leaving, Nalan Rangan's eyes darkened. She didn't guess that Zihanayu's purpose of meeting Betrayals was to deal with Yanyu of the Northern Pacification Division. Of course, she didn't expect Zihanayu to threaten Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. But judging from the current situation, Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower will not accept the threat. Then the first Dharma King of Hanayu sect, Mo1G, will definitely take action. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but think of what Betrayals said before. If the first Dharma King of Hanayu sect, Mo1G, takes action, he will definitely die. That tone was decisive. It's just that when Zihanayu left just now, he mentioned that Yanyu was going to use the living dead. Living dead. According to the situation obtained by their times hall, after Yanyu of the Pacification Division came to Lingnan County, he has been using secret medicine to refine the living dead. It is rumored that one person was successfully refined, that is, Qiyu Shenji, the White Bone Mountain man who dominated Lingnan County 30 years ago. Qiyu Shenji was able to dominate Lingnan County 30 years ago, which shows his strength. This person is practicing all things transformed, an extremely strange skill, which is divided into 8 levels. The higher the level of practice, the faster the speed, and the more powerful the moves. One move can make the wind and clouds move. It is rumored that when this skill is practiced to the 8th level, it consumes lifespan, and can increase the power of the move by 3 times. If it weren't for the design of the commander of the North Pacification Division of Lingnan County, to restrain part of Qiyu Shenji's power, I'm afraid Qiyu Shenji couldn't be captured at all. Although Qiyu Shenji was captured, the previous generation of the commander of the North Pacification Division of Lingnan County was also killed by Qiyu Shenji's all things transformed. If Qiyu Shenji was successfully refined, he would be extremely terrifying. Because he could use all things transformed, regardless of life consumption. Do I need to tell Betrayals about this matter? Nalan Rangan said, after thinking for a moment. Of course, this is also the purpose of Zihanayu's words, which is to let Nalan Rangan tell Betrayals about this matter. In order to make Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower compromise, Nalan Rangan gave instructions to the housekeeper Kibo, and left Times Hall. Although she did not approve of Zihanayu's approach, under the current circumstances, cooperation between Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower and Zihanayu might be the best choice. In another place, Chen opened his eyes and smiled. This 9-turn blood ginseng allowed him to complete the 2nd stage of the Vajra mixed origin power and officially enter the 3rd stage, the marrow refining stage. He gathered the blood and energy in his body, and walked down from the bed. He prepared to sit in the courtyard. Then he thought of the 7 white lottery cards he got from Liu Wumui today. After thinking about it, he used 2 cards first, obtained the secret book of shape changing and bone changing skill, and obtained 1 flesh body skill fusion card. After investigating the shape changing and bone changing skill, he found that it was a skill that changed the body structure and appearance. The flesh body skill fusion card can fuse the flesh body skills he is currently practicing. His current major flesh body skills are Vajra mixed origin power and Vajra demon splitting. These 2 techniques previously complemented each other. One was for tempering the body, and the other was for bursting out powerful attacks. Let's see what technique will become after the fusion. Chen thought to himself. Using the physical technique fusion card, the 7th level of Vajra mixed origin power and the 2nd level of Vajra demon splitting power appeared at the bottom of the card. Add the 2 techniques to the fusion card. The next moment, Chen felt the blood power in his body making a series of roaring sounds. The rolling blood and energy came out from his body, and layers of blood and energy burst out from his body, appearing like rolling magma. The momentum was magnificent and explosive. And in his mind, a new set of techniques was formed. Unmovable Demon Divine Technique. After the fusion of Vajra mixed origin power and Vajra demon splitting power, a new unmovable demon divine technique was formed. The information of the technique was also quickly formed in Su Chen's mind. Unmovable demon divine technique is divided into 6 levels. The first 3 levels are also about tempering the flesh, blood, bone marrow and internal organs, while the 4th level is about the transformation, which transforms the flesh into the blood of the demon god. When the 6th level is reached, the demon god body is cultivated. Once the demon god body is cultivated, the demon god blood can be consumed to recover the injuries. I didn't expect it to be integrated into such a skill. Su Chen's face showed excitement. Then his eyes fell on the shape-changing skill. This skill is very useful for him now. It changes his own form and face. In this way, he doesn't have to worry about his identity being exposed. For example, if he wants to use the Liu Shengli Jian experience card, he can completely change his shape according to his impression of Liu Shengli Jian. Returning to the house again, Su Chen began to practice the shape-changing skill. For a time, he devoted himself to the practice. The next night, Su Chen walked out of the hut. When he walked out of the hut, Su Chen's face seemed to be changing rapidly. He soon became an old man with wrinkles all over his face. His body also changed and began to become hunched. If my body had not been cultivated to the stage of marrow training, it would be difficult to change my body shape. Su Chen thought to himself. At this time, his face changed again, turning into a middle-aged man, and his stature became shorter. Then he put on his cloak and went to Beichaofi. Tomorrow is the opening of the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. He needs to learn a lot from Beichaofi. At this time, although it was night, the lights on the street were still bright, and some people were drinking and chatting in the alley. Smelling these aromas, Su Chen's stomach growled. At a restaurant, Su Chen stopped and went directly into the restaurant, preparing to go to Beichaofi after eating. He ordered some wine and food directly. Su Chen took off his bamboo hat. Now that his appearance has changed, he doesn't need to worry about being discovered by anyone. Do you know? The Golden Wind and Rain Tower will open tomorrow, said a big man in a brown robe holding a bowl of wine. Who doesn't know this? Isn't the site of the building the former site of Tian's Hall? Said a person next to him. And tomorrow will be very lively. I heard that the Blood Flag sect, the Yang family, and the Qin family will attack the Golden Wind and Rain Tower tomorrow. The person next to him continued. In fact, it is normal for the Qin family and the Blood Flag sect to attack, but why did the Yang family also attack? Some people said puzzledly. The news that Chen of the Qin family and Wu Ming of the Blood Flag sect were killed by Beichaofi has spread in the county government, so many people know it, but they don't know why the Yang family attacked. Didn't Yang Muchen of the Yang family die in King Cheng? It is rumored that he was killed by a finger through the head. It should be killed by Beichaofi, so the Yang family will attack. Another person said. In this case, tomorrow's battle will be very exciting. I don't know if the Golden Wind and Rain Tower can withstand it. It should not be able to withstand it. I heard that the first Dharma King of the Cold Moon sect, Mo1G, has arrived in the county government, and he will also attack the Golden Wind and Rain Tower tomorrow. Ah. Hearing this, the drinkers showed surprise on their faces. I didn't expect that a person like the first Dharma King of the Cold Moon sect has already arrived in the county government. Hearing their conversation, Su Chen's eyes narrowed slightly. The news of Mo1G's arrival at the county government should be kept secret. How could he be released? It felt like something was not simple. Su Chen simply ate something and headed towards the former site of Tian's Hall. Chapter 102. The first Dharma King, Mo1G, appears. The Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower will be open tomorrow. Beichaofi must be in the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower now. Of course, the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower mentioned here is actually the old site of Tian's Hall. Tian's Hall was surrounded by Hefen Hall and Biangsun, and could only live in Alan Mansion. The two parties cooperated, and the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower was mainly interested in the ruins of Tian's Hall. Soon, Su Chen came to the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. The Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower is now brightly lit, and the disciples guarding outside the door are the disciples of the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower sent by Ling Xian from King Cheng. Now that King Cheng Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower has unified King Cheng and merged with other forces, the number of people has increased dramatically. There is enough manpower. When Su Chen arrived in front of the building, the guard raised his hand to stop Su Chen. A token appeared in Su Chen's hand. There was a golden word engraved on it. "Greetings, sir." The two guards immediately bowed and said, "This is the token Ling Xian prepared for Su Chen. It represents the person who can mobilize everything in the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. Only the token is considered, not the person. Of course, this token will never be lost in Su Chen's place. After all, who can take it away if it is placed in the storage ring? Take me to see Bei Chaofi," Su Chen said. A guard immediately took Su Chen into the building. Tian's Hall is a tower-shaped building with 8 floors. In the 8th floor, Nalan Rangan and Kibo are in the building. "Master Bei, how are the arrangements for tomorrow?" She came here today to see the arrangements of the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. She wanted to see the strength of the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. But when she arrived at the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower, she did not find anything, so she asked this question. "Don't worry about this matter, Miss Nalan. Everything is arranged properly. There will be no problem opening the building tomorrow," Bei Chaofi said. Hearing Bei Chaofi's words, Nalan Rangan knew that the other party would not tell her some specific things. "Then I will stay here tonight. Please ask the Lord Bei to arrange a room for me. There are also several masters from our Tian's Hall who will arrive tomorrow morning. It has been tied to the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower." Nalan Rangan had no other choice but to support the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower and Bei Chaofi. Moreover, he saw that, although Bei Chaofi was a lone and arrogant person, he was not an impulsive person. Just when they walked out of the room, a guard appeared at the door with Su Chen. Bei Chaofi was startled when he saw Su Chen wearing a bamboo hat. He stepped forward and bowed. "Hello, sir." Then he said to the guard beside him, "Take Miss Nalan to the backyard wing room to rest." "Yes, Lord." The guard followed Nalan Rangan. This place is the place of Tian's Hall. Nalan Rangan is familiar with everyone here and quickly chose a wing room. What was the aura of that person just now? Nalan Rangan asked Kibo beside him. The other party restrained his aura and could not sense it. Kibo said in a deep voice, "Bei Chaofi calls that person sir. It seems that this person should have a high status in the power behind Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. Could this person be Bei Chaofi's backup?" Nalan Rangan said, "Miss, although I can't detect the strength of that person, he didn't make me feel palpitations, so he shouldn't be an extremely strong master." Kibo said in a deep voice, "The power of a warrior is strong. Even if he restrains his aura, he will suppress others to a certain extent. Kibo is a strong man in the soul refining realm. He has such a perception. For example, when he faced Bei Chaofi, he felt a little pressure. Bei Chaofi calls him sir, even if he is not strong. His identity should not be simple. Now we are in the same boat, we can only choose to believe them." Nalan Rangan said, "Miss, you should persuade Bei Chaofi to cooperate with Zihanayu again, so that Mo1G can help suppress the living dead." Kibo said, "There is no need to talk about this matter anymore. Zihanayu's purpose is not just to resolve the grudge. Once Jinfeng Ziyu kills Yanyu of the Northern Pacification Division, this will be exposed in the future, and Jinfeng Ziyu Tower may be wanted by the Great Zhao Dynasty. At that time, Jinfeng Ziyu Tower will have no choice but to continue to cooperate with Hanyu sect. At that time, Usha and Sehol will be merged by Hanyu sect. My best friend is thinking of killing 2 birds with 1 stone," Nalan Rangan said. In another place, inside the pavilion, Su Chen already knew why the news of Mo1G was spread. It turned out that Zihanayu had said, "I didn't expect that Zihanayu has not left the county government yet." Has Ling Xian found out the reason why Zihanayu has been in Qingcheng for so many years? Su Chen couldn't help asking. Find out some clues. When Zihanayu came to Qingcheng, several surveying and mapping personnel in Qingcheng disappeared. The families of those people have either disappeared or died of illness over the years. Ling Xian speculated that it might be drawing a map of the mountains around Qingcheng. Bei Chaofi said, when Zihanayu first appeared, she was at the county government. Combined with their actions against Yanyu of the Northern Pacification Division, it seems that they have found the location of the secret place. This is to clear the obstacles for myself to open the secret place. Su Chen said softly. The Northern Pacification Division has the responsibility of monitoring the forces of the martial arts world. If the Hanyu cult wants to take the things in the secret place quietly, it will definitely not be able to bypass the Northern Pacification Division. There are too many spies in the Northern Pacification Division, and any movement may attract the attention of the Northern Pacification Division. This is a hidden danger. If the leader of the Northern Pacification Division of Lingnan County is replaced, then this hidden danger will not exist. They want us to kill Yan Yu for this reason, and of course they also want me to board their ship in the Jinfeng Xiu building. This Zihan Yu's methods are really extraordinary. Su Chen sighed in his heart. Everything will be dealt with after the building is opened. Arrange a secret room for me. Su Chen said to Bei Chaofi. The building will be open tomorrow, and he will live here tonight. At this time, in another county government, in a remote manner, Zihan Yu and an old man in a black robe stood in the hall with a respectful look on his face. The old man was thin and had an old face. His deep eye sockets looked like a dead body, but his eyes were unusually sharp. Your Highness, you have completed your mission very well. The church has received the map and started to calculate. It is estimated that it will not take long to find the secret place, said the hunchbacked old man. This is what I should do, but Lord Dharma King, Yan Yu is still in the position of the commander of the Northern Pacification Division, which has a great influence on us, said Zihan Yu. According to Zihan Yu's words, this old man should be the first Dharma King of Han Yu sect, Mo1G. Compared with Lu Xiangxing, Zihan Yu's tone of voice towards Mo1G is quite respectful. Hasn't the Jinfeng Xiu Tower given us a reply yet? The old man's voice was low and hoarse. Yes, it seems that they are not considering cooperating with us, said Zihan Yu. When she finished speaking, Mo1G's face turned cold, and from his hunched body, an astonishing pressure emanated, sweeping over like a storm. Since they are so ungrateful, I will let them feel despair tomorrow. Mo1G was filled with murderous intent. But he didn't know that tomorrow, it would not be him who would die, but him. Chapter 103, Opening the Building. The storm rises. The Northern Pacification Office secretly sent a message saying that they will not ask questions when you attack the Golden Wind and Rainy Rain Tower, but you are asked to leave Lingnan Prefecture immediately after the attack. Zihan Yu said. Humph. Didn't they prepare the living dead? Why do they want me to lead the charge for them? Mo1G snorted coldly. I guess they want you, the Dharma King, to first explore the strength of the Golden Wind and Rainy Rain Tower. Zihan Yu said. What's the use of investigating? If the opponent is strong, investigating will only lead to death. But Bei Chaofi still refuses to cooperate with us after knowing that the living dead refined by Yan Yu and I have attacked. It should be that he has some trump card. Let the Qin family, the Yang family, and the Blood Flag sect take the lead tomorrow, the old man said in a deep voice. Although he is confident in his strength, the Golden Wind and Rainy Rain Tower is so tough that he still needs to be careful in many cases. He doesn't want to be hacked to death like Lu Xiangxing. This has now become a joke of their Hanyu sect. The next day, Golden Wind and Rainy Rain Tower. The lights were lit, and the building was ready for opening. The plaque of the Golden Wind and Drizzle building was already prepared in the lobby on the first floor, waiting for Bei Chaofi to notify it to be hung on the door plaque. Of course, the person who would hang the plaque should be Bei Chaofi himself. Hanging it up means that the Golden Wind and Drizzle building was successfully opened. Bei Chaofi stood in the 8th floor with his hands behind his back. Today would not be peaceful. He wanted to see who would come. Perhaps because they knew that there would be a big battle today, those who had received the invitation before did not come to the Golden Wind and Drizzle building. They just hid in the dark and watched. Once the Golden Wind and Drizzle building withstood the attack, they would naturally show up. Beside Bei Chaofi, Nalan Rangan said, none of the people we invited came. It seems that they received some notices. It doesn't matter. The notice is just to inform them. After today, they will re-examine our Golden Wind and Drizzle building. Bei Chaofi said with a cold look in his eyes. Hearing Bei Chaofi's words, Nalan Rangan's mind moved. Today she sensed the fierce momentum emanating from Bei Chaofi. The Yang family's second elder Yang Ji, the third best player of the Yang family, the Qin family's Qin Feng, who is second only to the head of the family Qinlin, and the Blood Flag sect's deputy sect leader Zhu Xian. On my side, only Kibo can fight against Yang Ji of the Yang family. The other two people on my side have no chance of winning if they leave. Malin Rangan said. The people from these three families are not important. What's important are the living dead sent by Yan Yu and the first Dharma king of the Hanayu sect, Mo1G. Bei Chaofei said. At this time, on the side of the street, in a pavilion, Liu Wumui and Lao Wu who were standing on the pavilion, looking at the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. The two had sharp eyes and hesitated at a very close distance. They could see Bei Chaofei standing on the pavilion with his hands behind his back. This Bei Chaofei is very young. Liu Wumui said in a deep voice. Young people are arrogant. If they secretly open the building, they may succeed. Now it's a bit difficult to open a building successfully. Lao Wu said in a deep voice. Third senior brother, you are not optimistic about the Golden Wind and Rainy Rain Tower. Liu Wumui said. It's not that I'm not optimistic, but the person who made the move is not simple. Just a single demon Wanji should be enough to give the Golden Wind and Rainy Rain Tower a headache. And there is also a living dead Qiyu Shenji. You should know how terrifying Qiyu Shenji without consciousness is. Lao Wu shook his head. The Golden Wind and Rainy Rain Tower should know this. They are still running the tower like this, so they should be confident. I'm very optimistic about the Golden Wind and Rainy Rain Tower. Senior brother, how about we make a bet? I remember that there is a golden spirit ball in your treasure house. If you win the bet, you will give it to me. If you lose, you can choose anything in my treasure house. Liu Wumui said. Choose anything? Junior sister, you are really optimistic about the Golden Wind and Rainy Rain Tower, but what do you want my golden spirit ball for? Lao Wu said. Senior brother, there is no need to know this. Just ask whether you dare to bet. Liu Wumui said. Okay. Lao Wu nodded. He looked outside the building. Opposite them, in a pavilion, Yan Yu, the leader of the Northern Pacification Division, and Pei Xiangsu were sitting in the pavilion. Duan Shu has joined the three families. Yan Yu said. Yes. Pei Xiangsu replied. Are there any experts coming from the Golden Wind and Rain Tower? Yan Yu asked in a deep voice. Last night, a man in black entered the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. No one else was there. We didn't monitor anyone who might have come. We didn't find anyone who broke into the building either. Except for the man in black, there were only people brought by Malin Rangan. Malin Rangan is really desperate. She doesn't know the details of the Golden Wind and Rain Tower, but she is desperate and sacrifices the century-old foundation of Tian's Hall. Yan Yu said with a sigh. Sir, after this, our Northern Pacification Division will have an excuse to take over Tian's Hall. Pei Xiangsu said. You will handle this matter later. Yan Yu nodded. Another place. The head of the Yang family, the head of the Qin family, Zhu Xian of the Blood Flag sect, and Yan Duanshu gathered together. No one came to congratulate the opening of the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower, which is a precedent in Lingnan County. The head of the Yang family said as he looked at the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower in front of him. What's the point of congratulating or not? As long as the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower can withstand our attack today, someone will naturally come to contact them. Zhu Xian said on the side. He was a little upset. The head of the Blood Flag sect actually sent him to personally test the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower this time. This is very risky. They don't have the opportunity to open the building. This time I brought Qiyu Shenji, the man from the White Bone Mountain. You will know how terrifying he is when he becomes a living dead. Yan Duanshu said on the side. His face was full of confidence. He had seen Qiyu Shenji take action with his own eyes. Without consciousness, there is no pain, and it was refined by secret medicine, so the vitality is extremely strong. I wonder when they will put up the plaque. Yan Duanshu stood up, walked to the edge of the pavilion, and looked at the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. The Golden Wind and Rain Tower killed his third brother, and he wanted to raise the Golden Wind and Rain Tower to the ground. Time passed little by little. The atmosphere became more and more tense. In the pavilion on the 8th floor of the Golden Wind and Rain Tower, three figures suddenly pushed the door open and entered. The leader was Chen, who was wearing a bamboo hat. Under the bamboo hat, his face had changed and became a middle-aged man with sharp edges, sharp eyes, and a sharp light. There was a long sword on his waist. Behind him stood two sturdy men. It was the leader of the Invincible sect, Du Guwudi, and the undead dragon Ling Hushan. Compared with Su Chen, these two people exuded an extremely domineering aura. Both of them were great figures who were the best in the field, and their domineering aura was not comparable to that of ordinary people. When the two came in, Nalan Rangayan and Kibo, who were standing behind Betrayals, trembled all over. They looked at each other in horror. "Greetings, sir," and the two envoys. Betrayals flew forward and said, "Open the door." Su Chen said, Chapter 104 Kill 3 people first to establish authority. As Su Chen's voice fell, Betrayals' figure flashed and jumped down from the pavilion. He appeared in front of the golden wind and drizzle tower. He raised his hand. 2 disciples in the building walked out of the building carrying a plaque and came to Betrayals. Betrayals grabbed the plaque with his right hand. "Today, my Lingnan golden wind and drizzle tower is opening a branch." Betrayals' bright voice echoed in the street. Before he finished speaking, Betrayals jumped up holding the golden wind and drizzle tower plaque. At this moment, 3 figures came over here. One of them raised a knife in his hand and slashed it out. The blade light was like a crescent moon, slashing towards Betrayals. The one who made the move was Yang Ji, a master of the soul refining realm who used a knife. Following him, there were 2 more people. A whirlwind appeared in the palm of one of them and grabbed towards Betrayals' head. It was Kim Feng from the Kim family. As for Zhu Xian, who made the move, his palm turned bloody and he slapped towards Betrayals' heart. Boom. Just as the 3 of them attacked, a strong sword energy suddenly burst out from behind them. A figure appeared on the street, and it was none other than Bei Xianyu, the owner of the Jinfeng Xiu building in Qingcheng. Bei Xianyu appeared and killed them with one sword, and the sword energy swept towards the 3 people like a long river. The 3 people's faces changed, and they turned around in an instant, attacking the sword energy that was sweeping over. Boom. The 4 forces collided, and the airwaves rolled, forming ripples like waves. After the airwaves spread, the 3 people fell down, staring at the appearing Bei Xianyu. Bei Xianyu. Seeing the person who appeared, the faces of the people watching the battle changed slightly. Bei Xianyu and the others had received news that after the battle with Lu Xiangxing, he had been practicing in seclusion and had not appeared. But today he appeared in the county government. At this time, Betrayals had already hung up the plaque and landed. For a moment, he and Bei Xianyu, one in front and one behind. The atmosphere became solidified. At this moment, the people watching the battle stood up one after another. "I didn't expect Bei Xianyu, you would come from Qingcheng. It's just right. This time, we will get rid of you together. Brother Zhu, Brother Qin and I will deal with Bei Xianyu, and you go to kill Betrayals." Yang Ji of the Yang family said. Hearing what the Yang family said, Zhu Xian nodded and said in a low voice, "Burst out with all your strength, don't hold back any strength." After that, he rushed out violently, and a strong blood color appeared in his palm, and he slapped Betrayals. The palm was extremely fast and the attack was also very fierce. Facing Zhu Xian's fierce attack, Betrayals, who was standing there, did not dodge. He stretched out his fingers, and the strong finger force burst out from his fingers, pointing a finger at the sweeping palm. Bang! The finger force collided with the palm force, forming a wave of air, and Betrayals' figure retreated several steps. Zhu Xian's figure just trembled slightly. What a strong fingertip technique. Zhu Xian raised his hand, and a mark appeared in the center of his palm. Although his internal energy was stronger than the opponent's finger force was extremely strong, penetrating his palm and landing on his palm. Betrayals didn't speak, but flashed and attacked Zhu Xian. Shocking finger, the fingertips attacked, as heavy as a mountain. This made Zhu Xian, who was covered by the fingertips, look gloomy, and the blood-colored energy in his body surged and gathered on his palm. He clenched his palm into a fist and blasted at the attacking finger. Boom. Zhu Xian blocked his attack, but at this time, there seemed to be a continuous drizzle around him, which affected his vision for a while. Shocking finger was created by Betrayals on the top of the mountain to understand the mystery of heaven and earth and integrate the 24 solar terms. It is divided into 24 solar terms finger method and 3-finger sky. Not only can it show the weight of the mountains, but also 20 solar terms. In this drizzle, or thunder suddenly sounded, and then Zhu Xian appeared in front of him with a thunderous finger that penetrated the drizzle. He hurried to resist, but when his palm collided with the opponent, swish, Bei Chaofu's finger was like a sharp spear tip, hitting Zhu Xian's palm heavily. The sharp finger force burst out and directly pierced Zhu Xian's palm. Blood splashed out immediately, and a force of thunder and lightning spread from the injured part of his palm to his arm. Zhu Xian endured the severe pain, shouted, and stepped forward. With his other palm, he clenched into a fist and hit Bei Chaofu. The violent blood smashed the surrounding drizzle. But when his fist approached Bei Chaofu, it missed, and the one he attacked was the remaining figure of Bei Chaofu. Seeing that the situation was not good, he kicked the ground with his footsteps and retreated violently behind him. Bei Chaofu, dressed in white, turned into a white shadow and followed closely behind, quickly performing the 24 solar terms fingering in his hand, not giving Zhu Xian a chance to react. At this time, Liu Wumui, who was watching the fight, saw this scene and said, "Brother, Zhu Xian should have no chance. If there is no help, he will probably die under the opponent's finger technique. His finger technique is not ordinary. If it weren't for this finger technique, Zhu Xian would not have lost." Lao Wuhu's eyes flickered. They saw the fight between Zhu Xian and Bei Chaofu clearly. They knew that Zhu Xian was defeated by Bei Chaofu's advanced finger technique. If it was a simple competition, Bei Chaofu might not be Zhu Xian's opponent. In the martial arts world, if you lose, you lose. There is no reason. Liu Wumui said. As she finished speaking, Bei Chaofu's fingers suddenly pierced through Zhu Xian's palm and touched his head. The sharp energy pierced through his head, just like it pierced through his palm before. Zhu Xian paused in attacking his palm, and his eyes were a little stunned. Before he made the move, he had a bad premonition. Unexpectedly, it was really as he expected. His eyes turned and looked at the two people who were confronting Bei Xianyu. TSK. When he looked over, Bei Xianyu, who was fighting with Qin Feng and the others, suddenly had a surging aura on his body, and the long sword in his hand suddenly rose up, like thunder. When no one reacted, it passed through Qin Feng's head like lightning. A stream of blood burst out from his head. Yang Ji of the Yang family's pupils suddenly dilated. He didn't expect that Bei Xianyu didn't use his full strength when fighting with them before. After Bei Chaofu killed Zhu Xian, Bei Xianyu suddenly attacked and killed Qin Feng with one knife. But when he was surprised in his heart, a fierce knife aura enveloped him, and suddenly his whole body trembled. The long sword in his hand couldn't help but clenched, and he slashed with the knife in an instant. But at this moment, a knife light that was faster than him appeared in front of him. Swish. After the knife light, a knife mark appeared between his eyebrows, and blood spurted out from it. Plop. The body knelt directly on the ground. The three people who attacked were killed by Bei Chaofu and Bei Xianyu in a short time. The reason why these two people attacked was mainly because they were the owners of the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower in charge of Qingcheng and Lingnan County and needed to show their strength. Killing people is the best way to establish authority. Chapter 105, Chaianaya Pavilion, 10 Directions Envoy, Immortal Dragon vs Living Dead. The streets were silent. At this time, the people watching the battle were looking at Bei Chaofu and Bei Xianyu. Bei Chaofu's previous achievements were only rumors, but no one had seen them. The people in the county government only received reports that Bei Xianyu killed Hanyu sect's Lu Xiangxing, and many people did not see it with their own eyes. On the pavilion, Su Chen said to Du Guwudi beside him, "Take action." Yes. Du Guwudi stepped forward and jumped down from the pavilion. Boom. When Du Guwudi fell, violent power burst out from his body. "I'm one of the 10 envoys of Chaianaya Pavilion, Du Guwudi. Today, those who have ideas about the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower founded by my Chaianaya Pavilion can show up." Du Guwudi's voice echoed in the air and reached the ears of those who were watching the battle. Chaianaya Pavilion, Du Guwudi, one of the 10 envoys. Many people were shocked. Although they knew that there was a force behind the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower, they were still shocked when they actually appeared. Inside the pavilion, the worry on Alan Rangan's face disappeared. The appearance of Su Chen and the others reduced her worries, but she still couldn't settle down without knowing the name of the power behind Bei Chaofu. Now she heard Du Guwudi announce his title and the name of the power behind him, and the last string in her heart was let go. Her eyes couldn't help but look at Leng Hushan. Bei Chaofei called these two people on a envoys, so this person should also be one of the 10 directions envoys. As for Su Chen wearing a bamboo hat, Nalan Rangan felt curious. Dugu Wudi, such an arrogant tone. Let me see if you have such strength. Just when everyone was surprised, a figure walked out from one end of the street. It was an old man in a black robe. The old man's body was dry, but he emitted an amazing breath fluctuation in his body. This breath swept the entire street and collided with the momentum bursting out of Dugu Wudi, the first Dharma king of Hanayu sect, Mo1G. Seeing this figure, the spectators were shocked and called out the old man's name. In a pavilion, Yan Yu, the Northern Pacification Division, stared at Mo1G closely. Sir, the strength of this Mo1G seems to have improved a lot. Pei Xiangsu said beside him. It feels like he is about to enter the state of unity of spirit and soul. I wonder if Dugu Wudi of Shianaya Pavilion is a match for Mo1G. Let Duanshu arrange for the living dead to take action. Yan Yu's eyes were filled with murderous intent. Yes. Pei Xiangsu turned and left. At this time, in the pavilion where Yan Duanshu and the others were, the heads of the Qin family and the Yang family looked extremely ugly. They looked at Bei Xianyu as if they wanted to eat him alive. Young Master Yan, Mo1G has taken action, so you should also take action. The head of the Qin family looked at Yan Duanshu and said. Yan Duanshu narrowed his eyes slightly. Dugu Wudi and Mo1G appeared, and according to reason, it was time for the living dead to take action. But he wanted to wait. At this time, under the pavilion, a servant came to Yan Duanshu's ear, and whispered something. Yan Duanshu's eyes condensed. He waved his hand to let the attendant go downstairs, and he came to the front of the pavilion. He looked at Dugu Wudi who was confronting Mo1G on the street, and said, my father has agreed to send out the living dead. As he spoke, a sound came out of his mouth. Then in the pavilion under their feet, an old man with white hair, unkempt face, and unusually burly figure walked out of the pavilion. This old man had a dull look in his eyes, and walked like a machine. But the aura he emitted was extremely powerful. Rumble. A huge force was transmitted on the street. Is that Qiyu Shenji, the man from Beigashan? Seeing the old man with unkempt hair and face stepping forward, some people spoke up. Is this the living dead Qiyu Shenji? Many people looked at Qiyu Shenji and began to check on him. But Qiyu Shenji burst out with a huge force, which shook back all their probing auras. Some of them swayed and almost fell to the ground. What a strong aura. Zihanayu appeared in the dark, staring at Qiyu Shenji's figure. To be honest, their main opponent is still Yan Yu from the Northern Pacification Division. If Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower cooperates with them this time, then today is the time to attack Yan Yu. Boom boom boom. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed in the street. He looked at Bei Xianyu and Bei Chaofei with a dull look, and suddenly raised his fist and punched at the two. The rolling energy surged like a wave, trying to kill the two directly. Boom. A figure fell from the pavilion and punched out, attacking Qiyu Shenji's fist. The energy that erupted from the man's fist was also extremely powerful. The two forces collided with each other, and a low sound suddenly rumbled, and a wave of air visible to the naked eye rippled out from under the fists of the two. Some surrounding buildings collapsed instantly when they touched these airwaves. Inside the pavilion, some spectators were shattered by the airwave and flew backwards, spitting blood from their mouths. Who is this man? Everyone looked towards the place where the battle was taking place. Bang! The two figures also took several steps back at this moment. When the figure stopped, the figure of the immortal dragon Leng Hushan appeared in front of everyone. The momentum on his body was surging like a river, giving people a strong and powerful feeling. Some spectators were immediately shocked. Judging from the momentum that burst out, Leng Hushan's momentum was even stronger than that of Dugu Wudi who was confronting Mo1G. Who are you? Mo1G looked at Leng Hushan and said. Shianaya Pavilion, Shifeng Envoy, Immortal Dragon, Leng Hushan. While speaking, Leng Hushan took a step forward, the ground shook, his hands clenched into fists, and shot out violently, and his fists fiercely hit the living dead Qiyu Shenji. The fists came out like a dragon. The powerful energy made the surrounding heaven and earth feel an inexplicable pressure. At this time, a strange voice came from a distance. Qiyu Shenji turned to Leng Hushan. He received an order to kill the man in front of him. A layer of black energy exploded on his body. He directly used his all-seeing changes and punched out. An extremely strong and domineering force burst out from his fist. It collided with Leng Hushen's fist. Boom. The two fists collided, and this time Leng Hushen's figure was shocked and flew backwards. Blood marks appeared on his arm. Leng Hushen did not pay attention to the blood marks on his arm, because the blood marks on his arm were recovering quickly. The strongest thing about the immortal dragon Leng Hushen was his recovery ability. When his arm recovered, he also raised his arm, and then punched out again, at a very fast speed. A huge energy formed in front of him, like a heavy mountain, attacking Qiyu Shenji. Seeing this, Qiyu Shenji passively raised his arm to resist. His fist collided with the energy, and his sleeves turned into powder in an instant, and the veins on his arms bulged. It seemed as if he was bearing a huge gravity. Roar. He roared, and a black light enveloped his body. He clenched his arms suddenly, crushing the energy directly. However, at this moment, his muscles began to shrink, and a drying trend appeared. Although Qiyu Shenji had become a living dead, and the huge medicinal power had been integrated into his body, the continuous attack also consumed a lot of energy. He kicked the ground with his foot, and attacked Leng Hushen. Leng Hushen did not dodge, but rushed forward. Boom. The two kept fighting, and the vitality maintained by the medicinal power on Qiyu Shenji's body was gradually decreasing, while Leng Hushen, the immortal dragon, had scars on his body. Why did Leng Hushen want to fight Qiyu Shenji? Some people watching the battle looked at this situation, and couldn't help but feel confused. Even Mo1G, who was confronting Duguwudi, thought so. The slow pace in the early stage caused many people to stop reading halfway through, so there were few follow-up readers and subscriptions, and they didn't know if their writing was right. Chapter 106 The Strong Must Die with Dignity. After all, judging from the current situation, the power of each blow of the living dead Qiyu Shenji is strong. But judging from the movements, the opponent's speed is not fast, and the pure power type is strong. Normally, Leng Hushen should suppress Qiyu Shenji in speed, rather than compete with him in strength. His recovery ability is terrifying. Yang Yu, who was standing in a pavilion, said with a gloomy face. He also had the doubts of others, but he was more concerned about Leng Hushen's recovery ability. Qiyu Shenji could injure the opponent a little every time, but after a while, the opponent's injuries recovered. It was too shocking. Immortal Dragon, the opponent's nickname? Yang Yu murmured. Turning to Pei Xiangsu beside him, he said, "Have you found the opponent's information? There is no information about this person in our Zinfusi system." Pei Xiangsu shook his head. He must have an impression of such a strong man, but he didn't remember it, which means that there is no information about this person in the Zinfusi system. That means they are the same as Bei Xianyu, Bei Chaofei and the others. It is indeed a hidden force. Yang Yu's eyes condensed, and he continued to look at the place where the fight took place. "It seems that this is your confidence. No wonder you rejected a Hanyu sect's good intentions." Hanyu sect's first Dharma King Mo1G said. "Good intentions. What you did was a threat. As for your Hanyu sect, you are not worthy of threatening our Xianaya Pavilion's forces. You actually showed up today, so stay here as a warning to others." Duguwudi looked at Mo1G and said. The immortal dragon Leng Hushen's move made him feel excited. In the previous life, he was cultivated to the 10th level of the extermination demon, the heavenly demon disintegration method, but he was still defeated by Yun Fiang who practiced the heavenly silkworm art. Now he is in another life. He wants to completely release the grievances of the previous life and this life. With anger in his heart, his own aura became stronger, and his fighting spirit was released. The confronting Mo1G sensed the change in Duguwudi's aura. His eyes condensed and became serious. Everyone also sensed the change in the atmosphere here. They looked over here. Does Duguwudi seem to want to attack Mo1G? The confrontation should be in their favor now. Why attack at this time? Is there anyone else in the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower? There is another person wearing a bamboo hat in the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. Some people said. Boom. Just as they were talking, Leng Hushen and the living dead Qiyu Shenji separated again. Leng Hushen wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said coldly, "Although your appearance has not changed, the medicine power in your body should be almost consumed." Now it's time to send you on your way. Leng Hushen's voice fell, and his figure soared into the air, and two huge ki energies condensed in his palms. The fluctuations of ki energies were extremely shocking. How can he still have such ki energies? Yan Yu looked at the ki energies bursting out of Leng Hushen's palms. His pupils suddenly shrank, and a feeling of uneasiness surged from his heart. I'm afraid Qiyu Shenji can't withstand this attack, he said in a deep voice. The living dead Qiyu Shenji seemed to sense the power of this attack and roared. In the roar, there was a monstrous fierceness. The black aura on his body also swept out. Shenlong destroy. Leng Hushen, who soared into the air, shouted in a low voice. Two huge energy forces in his palms were like a dragon and went towards Qiyu Shenji. Two black air currents appeared in Qiyu Shenji's palms. The two air currents gathered together to form a surging and violent force. They collided with Leng Hushen's attack. Boom. The two forces collided, forming a huge energy vortex, and the ground trembled under this vortex. Roar. During the collision, the two energy forces like the dragons let out a low roar and rushed hard. Waves of power spread wildly, dispersing the black aura formed by Qiyu Shenji, and finally collided with his body. Bang! Qiyu Shenji's body was knocked back. At the moment of the shock, Leng Hushen's palm became a claw, and he grabbed in the air. A wave of energy quickly condensed into a column, and then went directly to Qiyu Shenji, the living dead who was shocked away. Boom. The powerful palm force directly pressed on the opponent's body. Qiyu Shenji, who was originally shocked back, had not yet stabilized his body. He was directly pressed to the ground by this energy. At this time, Leng Hushen's figure had already fallen, and his palm directly pressed on the opponent's heart. The violent power was like a dragon in his body, making the opponent's violent body unable to move. The strong are refined into living dead. This is an insult to the strong. The strong can die, but they cannot die without dignity. Leng Hushen looked at Qiyu Shenji and said. The voice echoed on the street. At this moment, some people knew, while Leng Hushen had been competing with the opponent in strength. This was to let the opponent fight with dignity. It was also a respect for the former strong. Leng Hushen's words immediately resonated with some strong people. No one wants to be refined into a living dead. In the pavilion, Yan Yu's eyes became gloomy when he heard Leng Hushen's words. He was the one who made the living dead. Leng Hushen was insulting him by saying this. His eyes were sharp and his aura was surging. Pei Xiangsu beside him said, Sir, don't get angry. If you take action at this time, you may fall into the opponent's trap. The martial arts world has its own rules. The great Zhao dynasty relies on the martial arts world to survive, and the martial arts forces occupy a certain position in the great Zhao dynasty. This is why Yan Yu has to rely on the Qinglong Temple to sit firmly in the position of the leader of the North Pacification Division of Lingnan County. If Yan Yu takes action at this time, and is killed in the end, then the great Zhao dynasty will not take action. Of course, if Yan Yu does not take action and is killed, then the great Zhao dynasty will definitely hunt down the person who took action. There is no doubt that the great Zhao dynasty is powerful, otherwise, it would not allow the martial arts forces in the great Zhao dynasty to flourish so much. Die. Leng Hushen's palm, which was printed on the other party's heart, suddenly clenched into a fist. Then a huge force directly poured into the opponent's heart. Shattered the opponent's heart. The heart is the hub of the human body. Shattered, just like the head was cut off. There is no chance to recover. The heart was shattered, and Qiyu Shenji showed a trace of relief in the corner of his eyes, and finally there was no breath. Seeing this scene, Yan Yu's eyes were gloomy. He didn't expect that the zombie Qiyu Shenji's attack did not pose any threat to the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. His eyes flashed coldly. Yan Yu said to Pei Xiangsu, how are the backup plans? Don't worry, sir. The leader of the Blood Flag sect has brought his 39 blooded guards outside the city. As long as I send out a signal, they will rush in. Although Leng Hushen is strong, he can't stop the iron-blooded formation led by the leader of the Blood Flag sect. Pei Xiangsu said. Okay. Send out the remaining 10 semi-finished zombies and let them play their remaining strength. Doesn't Leng Hushen want to give dignity to the strong? Let's see how he gives it. Yan Yu said in a deep voice. Chapter 107. The devil disintegrates. The soul and spirit unite. Yan Yu was angry because of Leng Hushen's words. Of course, there were also people from Jinfengxiayu Tower who killed his son. Other situations have been ruled out, and the murderer can only be Jinfengxiayu Tower. Jinfengxiayu Tower, the 8th floor pavilion. Nalan Rangan looked at the living dead killed by Leng Hushan. His eyes were slightly startled, and he said, "Your Excellency's words just now may stimulate Yang Yu. Yang Yu is narrow-minded and vindictive. He should still take action. I just didn't want to kill him. If he really wants to die, the great Zhao dynasty can't save him," Su Chen said coldly. His tone was domineering, which made Nalan Rangan look stunned. Everyone knows how powerful the great Zhao dynasty is, but the other party said so, as if he didn't care too much about the great Zhao dynasty. What kind of force is this Shianaya pavilion? Nalan Rangan thought in his heart. Looking at Su Chen wearing a bamboo hat, Su Chen's eyes fell on the street at this time. He really wanted to see if anyone else would take action. Now Bai Chaofi, Bai Shianayu, and Leng Hushan have all dealt with their opponents. Dugu Wudi's aura is surging, and he is expected to attack in the blink of an eye. If no one else comes, today's battle will end after Dugu Wudi and Mo Wanji. At this time, a figure came up from downstairs and stood outside the door. The figure appeared, and Kibo quickly went outside beside Nalan Rangan. The person who appeared whispered a few words in Kibo's ear. Kibo's face changed and waved his hand to let the person leave. After entering the room, Kibo first looked at Nalan Rangan. "The master is here. You can talk directly," Nalan Rangan said. "We got the news that the leader of the Blood Flag sect, Shangguanzu, is outside the city with his 39 blood guards. They are probably waiting for the signal from the city," Kibo said. "Blood Flag sect? Are they going to attack again? If they come, send them off. Let's keep watching," Su Chen said calmly. The immortal dragon Leng Hushan has recovered his strength and can fight several strong men of the same level. On the street, when Dugu Wudi's aura changed, Mo Wanji's aura also changed dramatically. He took a step forward, and the surrounding ki began to flow into his body. The rolling airflow was like the sea, extremely terrifying. After this power entered his body, Mo Wanji's originally dry body seemed to be replenished. His body became burly and his figure also grew taller. Wanji destroying soul palm. Mo Wanji took the lead and a huge ki gathered in his palm. With a palm strike, a force that destroyed living things burst out from his palm. The 10th level of the extinction magic in Dugu Wudi's body on the opposite side also burst out at the same time, and a black ki appeared in his palm. This ki was also abnormally overbearing. Bang! The ki of the two collided, and a roar broke out, and the two figures quickly retreated. At the moment of retreating, the two kicked the ground and instantly flew into the air, and their hands kept colliding in the air. Rumble. The powerful ki formed airflow, sweeping around, forming a series of ki storms. The two fought in the air. It was difficult to tell the winner for a while. In the dark, Zihanayu looked at this situation with a bad look. The power behind the Golden Wind and Rain Tower, Shianaya Pavilion, was not simple. The two people who appeared gave her a different feeling. The immortal dragon Leng Hushan was majestic and gave people the feeling of a righteous leader. And this Dugu Wudi had a kind of heroic aura. Neither of them was someone who could bend to others. Just like Bai Shianayu she had seen before. Zihanayu was very puzzled by this. The pupils of the people watching the battle suddenly shrank. The Shianaya Pavilion, behind the Golden Wind and Rain Tower suddenly appeared two masters who were close to the unity of spirit and soul, and they were only the 10 directions messengers. It was scary to think about it. Lingnan County had another giant crocodile force. In this way, the local forces were weakened again. The world is like this. If you are strong, he will be weak. Therefore, they were thinking about how to get along well with the Golden Wind and Rain Tower after today. Of course, the ones who looked a little worried were the heads of the Yang and Qin families. They looked at the two people who kept colliding in the air, and their hearts were trembling. If it were just Bai Chaofi and Bai Shianayu, they would not be nervous. But with the strength of Dugu Wudi and Leng Hushan, the two families could only barely resist them together. But there was another person wearing a bamboo hat in the pavilion. When the two people appeared in the pavilion before, they stood beside the man wearing a bamboo hat. The man wearing a bamboo hat was vaguely the main one. Then the strength of the man wearing a bamboo hat would definitely not be worse than these two people. His eyes could not help but look at Yan Duanshu, who was standing beside the pavilion. At this time, Yan Duanshu's face was gloomy. "Young Master Yan, do we still need to take action?" The head of the Yang family said. "What's the difference between taking action and seeking death? My father should have arrangements." "Don't worry," Yan Duanshu said. Boom. Just as he finished speaking, Beishayanayu, who was beside Beichalfi, suddenly raised his hand and drew his sword. A sword aura like a chain appeared and slashed directly at the pavilion where Yan Duanshu and the others were. The Yang family and the Qin family have already made their move, so the two people watching the fight can't stay. Make a move to solve it. As long as these two people die, the Yang family and the Qin family will be leaderless. At that time, other forces will definitely want to take a share of their two families, which will also be beneficial to the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. Boom. The pavilion collapsed. 3 figures rushed out from it and fell to the ground. Yan Duanshu of the Yan family, the head of the Yang family and the head of the Qin family. The 3 of them looked a little embarrassed and looked at Beishayanayu, who made the move with vigilant eyes. Boom. At this moment, 2 figures fell between them. It was Duguwudi and Mo1G. "You and I are equal in strength. You can't kill me." Mo1G looked at Duguwudi and said. The two fought for hundreds of moves, but neither of them could defeat the other. So Mo1G had the idea of leaving. "I should have said before that you must die if you come here today, and you can't leave," Duguwudi said coldly. "Do you want to join forces with Leng Hushan to deal with me?" Hearing Duguwudi's words, Mo1G said in a deep voice. His eyes could not help but look at Leng Hushan, but Leng Hushan stood there without moving. "Today, I, Duguwudi, will kill you." Heavenly Demon Disintegration Technique. Duguwudi shouted, and the key, blood and bones in his body suddenly made a loud noise. As the loud noise appeared, the aura on Duguwudi's body changed rapidly. He actually went directly to the unity of soul and spirit. Duguwudi's own strength was close to the unity of soul and spirit. He had never been able to defeat this demon 1G, so he directly used the Heavenly Demon Disintegration Technique, and with the power of the Heavenly Demon Disintegration Technique, he allowed his strength to temporarily break through to the unity of soul and spirit at this moment, and burst out the power of the unity of soul and spirit. When the aura on Duguwudi's body changed, the eyes of the demon 1G opposite him were stunned, revealing an unbelievable look. "The unity of soul and spirit," he said in a lost voice. Before he finished speaking, Duguwudi's figure disappeared. The pupils of the demon 1G suddenly shrank, and his figure retreated rapidly. But a palm appeared in front of him. The speed was faster than his retreat speed. He could only watch the palm print on his chest. Bang! His own body was knocked out by a palm and crashed into the direction of the Yang family patriarch, who was forced out by Beishayanyu's knife. The Yang family patriarch saw it with his eyes, but his body could not keep up with his eyes. The whole person was hit by Mo1G, and blood spurted out of his mouth. Then his body followed Mo1G and crashed into the broken wall. Thank you for the 500 starting coins reward from Meng Buju, who has been in the mind for 1,000 years. Thank you for the 100 starting coins reward from Bookfriend 202206172029132242. Thank you for the 100 starting coins reward from Zuhu and Lishan. Thank you for the 6600 starting coins reward from Zutauj. Thank you for the 3000 starting coins reward from Jianghu Yehua01. Thank you for the 100 starting coins reward from Bunu and Jiandan. Thank you for the 2000 starting coins reward from Wastjuk. Chapter 108, Son's Life or Death, Nothing Can Be Done. Boom. A section of the broken wall collapsed directly under their impact, and the broken bricks covered the two people. But then a figure stood up from the ruins. It was Mo1G. At this time, blood was flowing from the corners of his mouth. His body was hunched, his chest collapsed, and his eyes were horrified as he looked at Duguwudi standing not far away. The moment he stood up, Duguwudi's figure disappeared like a ghost. When he appeared again, he was already in front of Mo1G. A hand grabbed his throat directly, not giving Mo1G a chance to react. "I said you would die today. You must die. You shouldn't have come." Duguwudi's cold voice sounded in Mo1G's ears. The power in his palm exploded. Crack. His throat was directly crushed, and his head hung down, without a breath. The first Dharma king of Hanyu sect died just like that because his throat was crushed. The previous Dharma king Lu Xiangxing was hacked to death by a random knife. The deaths of the two Dharma kings of Hanyu sect were somewhat pitiful. Seeing this scene, the spectators were shocked. The first Dharma king of Hanyu sect, Mo1G, died in the hands of Dugu Wudi. The death of two Dharma kings in a row may be the biggest loss of Hanyu sect in recent years. Hanyu sect has been besieged by the Great Zhao dynasty's pacification division for many years, but it has always stood in the Great Zhao dynasty. It can be seen that its foundation is not ordinary. This time, it lost two Dharma kings in a row, which is a big loss. In the dark, seeing this situation, Zi Hanyu's eyes changed and she murmured, Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower, Xianaya Pavilion, this matter needs to be reported to the headquarters as soon as possible. But now that the first Dharma king has fallen, the people in Lingnan County need to hide as soon as possible. We also need to expand new members. Thinking of new members, Zi Hanyu couldn't help but think of Su Chen in his mind. Cough. Cough. At this time, the head of the Yang family climbed up from the ruins before, coughing and spitting blood. He looked around with a dazed look. I didn't expect that I would be so unlucky. But this was not the worst thing for him. Because what was even worse was that Bei Chao, who had killed Zhu Xian earlier, flew and flashed towards the bewildered him. A sharp force burst out from his fingers, and before he could react, it touched his forehead. Swish. A blood hole appeared between his eyebrows. First blood, and then white brain matter. Bang. The body fell to the ground. There was reluctance and regret in the confusion on his face. Seeing this, the shocked Yan Duanshu and Qinlin, the head of the Qin family, changed their faces at the same time, and then they fled in two directions. The head of the Qin family fled along the street. Yan Duanshu went to the pavilion, where Yan Yu was. At this moment, they soared their speed to the extreme, sweeping out like a gust of wind. Only a vague shadow was left on the spot. Perhaps this was the fastest burst of speed in their lives. They were fast, but there were people who were faster than them. Bei Xianyu appeared in front of Qinlin, raised the long sword in his hand, and then saw a waterfall of sword light slashing directly at Qinlin. Qinlin roared and punched out, but the fist force collided with the sword energy, and the whole person was chopped back by the sword. Bang! The body fell to the ground, and then exploded directly, turning into a ball of flesh and blood. A white figure on the other side was faster. The figure flashed and appeared in front of Yan Duanshu. With 5 fingers clenched, he grabbed with one palm, and the powerful energy grabbed the other's head without hesitation. Insolent. A low roar, like the roar of a lion king, formed a wave of air, which slowed down the movement of Bei Chao for his hands. At this moment, a huge suction force came out from the pavilion, and grabbed Yan Duanshu directly back. Yan Duanshu's previously horrified face suddenly returned to normal, but at the moment he relaxed, Leng Hushan, who was standing, suddenly punched in the air. Bang! Yan Duanshu's whole body was like a balloon that was blown up. It exploded with a bang, and turned into a ball of flesh and blood. Blood was scattered in the air. You dare? At this moment, Yan Yu in the attic let out a low roar. Do you dare to come down? As long as you come down, I will kill you. Suddenly, a low voice came out of Dugu Wudi's mouth. The angry Yan Yu in the attic smashed the table and chairs in front of him with a bang. But he did not move. Previously, he only used palm power to capture Yan Duanshu back, and did not show up in person, because he was afraid that Dugu Wudi would attack him. Sir, Dugu Wudi used a secret method to improve himself. Wait until his energy disappears, before we attack him. Pei Xiangsu looked at Dugu Wudi with cold eyes and said, release those half-finished zombies. Even if you can't kill them, you must demolish the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower for me. Yan Yu's eyes were bloodshot. He could not tolerate the revenge of killing his son in front of him, but he knew that he was no match for him, so he forced himself to wake up and not rush out. But he didn't want to let Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower have an easy time. Send a signal, let Shang Guangxu take action. A low voice came out of his mouth. Pei Xiangsu nodded to a follower behind him. The follower left quickly, and a moment later, a bright firework appeared in the sky, and 10 people in grey robes walked out of the dark, these people with dull eyes. As soon as they appeared, they rushed towards the direction of Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. The moment they rushed over, Their eyes were scarlet, emitting fearsome cruel eyes, like a scene of a wild beast hunting. Looking at the people who appeared, the eyes of the spectators condensed. Unexpectedly, another group of living dead appeared. However, these people who rushed out were enveloped by a strong energy before they got close, and then Duguwuda's figure passed through these people. After passing through, these people stayed in place. Bang, bang, bang. Then the whole body exploded. Not presentable. Duguwudi snorted coldly. Inside the pavilion of the Golden Wind and Rain Tower, the fireworks should be to inform Shangwenzu outside the city. I wonder if they dare to show up. Su Chen looked up at the fireworks in the sky and said. He felt a little regretful. I thought I could make a move. I didn't expect that there was no chance to make a move at all. It should be, but based on my understanding of Shangwenzu, he shouldn't make a move at this time. And he will bring people to the Golden Wind and Rain Tower to apologize in a few days. Nalan Rangan said. Is that so? Su Chen shook his head. But there may be some problems if we kill Yanduanshu. Yanduanshu was valued by the great wisdom Dharma king of Qinglang Temple and was accepted as a disciple. If we kill Yanduanshu, we may offend the great wisdom Dharma king. Nalan Rangan said. If that great wisdom monk must be our enemy because of this, then let's be our enemy. Su Chen said. When Yanshu was killed by him, it meant that there was no room for them to ease with the Yan family. If the Yan family's allies wanted to make a move, it would just be one more enemy. Su Chen didn't care. Looking towards the street, he wanted to see if Shangwenzu would rush in with others. But after a while, Shangwenzu did not show up as Nalan Rangan said. Not far away, in the pavilion, Yanyu left angrily with red eyes. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109. The storm is coming again. Lingnan County will be in chaos. The Golden Phoenix Rainy Rain Tower in Lingnan County has been successfully opened, and the rewards include one blue lottery card and 1,000-year-old ginseng. After Yanyu left, Su Chen actually received a reward. A blue lottery card and 1,000-year-old ginseng. Is this because I have been practicing physical exercises recently and have consumed too much of my body functions, so I can get 1,000-year-old ginseng to replenish my body? Su Chen thought to himself. Not far from him, Nalan Rangan saw Yanyu leaving on the street. There was a trace of tension on her face before, but at this moment she completely relaxed. My lord, this Yanyu will never give up. I'm afraid he will find a chance to attack my Golden Phoenix Rainy Rain Tower. We need to find a way to get rid of him. Nalan Rangan now regarded herself as a member of the Golden Phoenix Rainy Rain Tower. No need to kill him. Wasn't it said that Yanduanshu could hold the position of the leader of the Northern Pacification Division of Lingnan County because he became a disciple of the great wisdom Dharma king of Qinglang Temple? But now Yanduanshu is dead. I don't think he can stay in the position of the leader of the Northern Pacification Division of Lingnan County for long. Su Chen said coldly. Hearing Su Chen's words, Nalan Rangan was stunned. I didn't expect this step. It was indeed as Su Chen said. Once Yanduanshu died, the relationship between the Yan family and the Qinglang Temple might be severed, and the Qinglang Temple would not do its best to protect him. Suddenly, Nalan Rangan thought of something. My lord, Yanyu has another son, who is the disciple of the leader of the Xiangsha League. Nalan Rangan said. I didn't expect that Yanyu has a son in the Xiangsha League. This matter will be handled by Bei Chaofei himself. Su Chen did not plan to continue to manage the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower in Lingnan County. At this time, Bei Chaofei, Bei Xianayu, Du Guwudi, and Leng Hushan walked up from downstairs. Du Guwudi, you and Bei Xianayu go to Qingcheng. Leng Hushan, you help Bei Chaofei stay in Lingnan County for a while and assist him in taking down the Yang family and the Qin family. What belongs to us must be ours. Su Chen ordered. Yes. The two took the order. Although Qingcheng is not as big as the county city, it borders the outside of the Great Wall and is a passage connecting the outside of the Great Wall. Su Chen will not let go of Qingcheng. Moreover, He guessed in his heart that the secret place that Zihanayu mentioned should be outside King Cheng. After saying this, Su Chen turned and left the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. When Su Chen walked out of the Golden Wind and Rain Tower, a spy followed him. After walking a few steps, Su Chen suddenly turned around, flashed, and passed by the other party. After Su Chen left, the spy stood in the middle of the road and did not move. Su Chen continued to move forward and finally merged into the bustling street market not far away, disappearing from everyone's sight. Some people here looked at the spy who stopped, with some confusion in their eyes. I don't know why this spy didn't move. After a while, a man in a black robe walked towards the spy, but before he reached the spy's body exploded. The man in black was unable to dodge and was sprayed with blood from the spy. Bruise appeared on his body and there was a burning pain. Seeing this, the man in black quickly withdrew and did not dare to follow Su Chen. He understood that Su Chen's killing of the spy was actually a warning to him and others. The stalker died. On the street, Su Chen had changed back to the state of a disciple of Shanman. The Jinfeng building opened smoothly today, and the matter was over, so he was ready to return to Shanman. When Su Chen left the county gate, he saw a familiar figure. Zihanayu, is she leaving the city too? The figure followed quietly. Soon Zihanayu arrived at a very remote small house outside the city. After knocking on the door 3 times, a head appeared in the manor. It was Xiaolan who had followed Zihanayu before. Su Chen saw Zihanayu enter the manor. He looked around and jumped directly into the manor. The two were heading towards the hall. The manor was very quiet, with no servants. In the hall, Zihanayu took off her veil, and her face under the veil was the same as the last time Su Chen saw her. Is this her true appearance? Su Chen thought to himself as he looked at Zihanayu in the hall from the dark. Miss, why didn't the first Dharma King come back with you? Xiaolan couldn't help but ask. The first Dharma King died in the Golden Wind and Rain Tower, and there is another force behind the Golden Wind and Rain Tower called Xianaya Pavilion. They sent 2 messengers this time. One is called Dugu Wudi, and the other is called the immortal dragon Ling Hushan. The first Dharma King died at the hands of Dugu Wudi, who used a secret method to enter the state of unity of spirit and soul. You should pass this news back to the sect, Zihanayu said. Hearing Zihanayu's words, Xiaolan was stunned on the spot, a little bit unbelievable. Miss, what should we do now? The Dharma King came to deal with Yan Yu. Now Yan Yu is fine, but the Dharma King died first. Don't worry too much about Yan Yu. The people of Jinfeng Xiaolao helped us kill Yan Duanshu. Once Yan Duanshu dies, Yan Yu will not get the support of Qinglan Temple. Our people will have the opportunity to replace him as the leader of the North Pacification Division of Lingnan County. As long as Yan Yu loses this position of leader, the people of Jinfeng Xiaolao will never keep him. After you send the message, notify Li Wei and ask him to come to Dingshan Lake to see me tonight. Also, check Su Chen over there to see what he is like in Shanman now. I want to absorb him into Hanayu sect to see if I can drive an alien to Shan sect. Zihanayu said. Yes. Xiaolan quickly went to the back hall. Su Chen's eyes condensed here. He knew Li Wei mentioned by Zihanayu, the left governor of Lingnan County. Previously, Jinfeng Xiaolao wanted to follow the other route and enter the county government. Unexpectedly, this person is related to Hanayu sect. Judging from this situation, Hanayu sect's layout in Lingnan County is not small. I still can't underestimate them. After waiting for a while, Su Chen saw that Xiaolan hadn't come back yet and prepared to evacuate first. But when he was about to leave, Xiaolan rushed in. Miss, Lingnan County is going to have an accident. Hearing Xiaolan's words, Zihanayu's expression changed. What happened? Tell me. Miss, there is news from the sect that Lingayu Sword sect has news about the golden plum bottle. Let us investigate. Xiaolan said. Hearing this, Zihanayu's expression became solemn. If Lingayu Sword sect really has news about the golden plum bottle, then Lingayu Sword sect may be besieged. Once Lingayu Sword sect is besieged, the entire Lingnan County will be in chaos. At that time, the Northern Pacification Division of the capital of the Great Zhao Dynasty will definitely send a strong man to suppress the forces of the rivers and lakes. People from their side cannot come. Moreover, Lingnan County is in chaos, and their plan cannot be implemented. Chen, who was eavesdropping outside, couldn't help but wonder what the golden plum bottle they were talking about was. Chapter 110 Resurrection from the Dead. Golden plum vase. Something that can cause a shock in Lingnan County is definitely not simple. Chen's curiosity about the so-called golden plum bottle arose in his heart. The two did not talk about anything useful afterwards, and Chen quietly left the manor. After leaving the manor, Chen immediately sent a message to Bai Chaofi, asking him to investigate what the golden plum bottle is. Shan Gate, Xiangsu Villa. Miss. A force called Xian'ai Pavilion appeared behind the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower and sent two envoys, Dugu Wudi and the undead dragon Leng Hushan. The first Dharma king of the Hanyu sect, Mo1G, was killed by Dugu Wudi, who performed a secret technique, and the living dead refined by Yan Yu was also destroyed by the undead dragon Leng Hushan. Kwei quickly reported what happened in the county city to Chen. After listening to Kwei's words, a strange color flashed in Chen's beautiful eyes. Xian'ai Pavilion, Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower, Leng Hushan, Dugu Wudi, you said that the people from Xian'ai Pavilion are really here, just to cheer for Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. Chen said. Miss, what do you mean? Kwei, who was dressed in yellow, asked in confusion. On the surface, it looks like they are here to cheer, but I always feel that it is not. From the current situation, this Xian'ai Pavilion should be a hidden force, and its strength is extraordinary. Otherwise, they would not casually send out two masters who are about to achieve the unity of spirit and soul. You said that, if they showed up earlier, they would definitely shock some forces in Lingnan County. Even if they are not afraid of the power of these two people, they should not embarrass Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. So I guess these two people came here for other purposes. Chen said. Miss, are they also here for Jinmei bottle? Hearing Chen's analysis, Kwei couldn't help but say, it is very likely that the golden plum bottle is said to have the effect of bringing the dead back to life, and everyone will be interested in it. You ask the people in the county government to pay close attention to the dynamics of Golden Wind and Rain Tower, especially the whereabouts of Dugu Wudi and Leng Hushan. If they have not left, I'm afraid they are really here for the golden plum bottle. We need to pay attention. Chen said. While they were talking, a young man appeared outside the Xiangsu Villa. The man's long black hair was casually scattered, his eyes were deep, his eyebrows were flying, and he was wearing a black long gown with gold embroidered on the edges of the long gown. His temperament was extraordinary. The visitor did not report and went straight into the villa. In the courtyard, Qi Yulinger saw the man in black shirt and immediately showed a stupid expression on her face. She stepped forward and bowed. Meet the young master. Young master, there is only one person who can be called the young master in Shanmen, and that is Kan Mu, the son of Qian Yanshan, the master of Shanmen. Linger, is junior sister King Chen in the backyard? The man's tone was gentle, giving people a gentle and elegant feeling. Miss, she is in the backyard. I will go and report. Qi Yulinger immediately went to the backyard. Miss, the young master is here. Qi Yulinger shouted directly after entering the backyard. Chen, who was talking, waved his hand to let Kwei leave and stood up and walked out of the courtyard. Seeing Kan Mu coming in with Qi Yulinger, he stepped forward and said, brother, how come you have time to come to my Xiangsu Villa? Junior sister, you have been practicing in the villa, and you should go out for a walk. It just so happens that a new force has emerged in the county government. My father asked me to visit it. I wonder if junior sister can go with me. Kan Mu said, a new force has emerged, and senior brother wants you to go in person. What kind of force is this? Chen asked, pretending to be a little surprised. The new force is called Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. This force is not simple. There is a hidden force behind it called End of the World Pavilion. This End of the World Pavilion sent two strong men who are about to achieve the unity of spirit and soul to come to Lingnan County. They also killed the first Dharma king of Hanyu sect, Mo1G, and destroyed the Qin and Yang families. They are very powerful, so my father asked me to visit them. Kan Mu said. So strong. King couldn't help but said in surprise. They are strong, and they do things very domineeringly. I'm afraid Lingnan County will not be peaceful for long. Junior sister, come with me to see this Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. Kan Mu said so much, in fact, just to arouse Mirren Qingshan's interest. Now that his interest has been aroused, he believes that Mirren Qingshan will go to the county with him. Well, I also want to see this force. Mirren Qingshan nodded. Just now, after listening to Keiwa's report, she wanted to get in touch with this Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. Now Kan Mu asked her to go with him. It just happened that she could observe the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. If possible, she might cooperate with the Golden Wind and Rain Tower next. Hearing this, Kan Mu smiled. Linger, go inform Keiwa to go down the mountain with me. Mirren Qingshan said to Qiu Linger, who was standing aside. Miss, take me with you. Qiu Linger also wanted to go down the mountain to have a look. No one is watching here. It's not okay, Mirren Qingshan said. Qiu Linger looked a little disappointed when she heard this. Suddenly, her eyes lit up, and she saw Su Chen coming in from outside. Su Chen returned to Shan Gate, thinking about going to the armory again to see if he could get some wool. Su Chen, come here. Qiu Linger immediately shouted to Su Chen. Miss, now there is someone here, with Su Chen watching. I can go out with you. Hearing Qiu Linger's voice, Su Chen walked towards this side. Meet the dean, meet the young master. Su Chen had some impression of Kan Mu, the young master of the Shan sect, and could recognize him. The young lady, I and Sister Keiwa will go out together, and I'll leave this place to you. Qiu Linger said. Brother, this. Mirren Qingshan glanced at Kan Mu. Then let's go together. Kan Mu nodded, then looked at Su Chen and said, you have a new person to take care of your courtyard. Kan Mu knew that the people who took care of the Xiangsu courtyard had always been Keiwa and Qiu Linger, and there was no one else. Su Chen just joined my Xiangsu courtyard, Mirren Qingshan said. Hearing Mirren Qingshan's words, Kan Mu frowned slightly. In his impression, Mirren Qingshan didn't have the habit of remembering disciples. How could he remember Su Chen? But seeing that Su Chen was dressed like an ordinary first class inner disciple, he didn't care. Junior sister, let's go. After visiting the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower, we can also watch the Lotus Lantern Festival in the county city tonight. Kan Mu said. Originally, it was the deputy headmaster Lu Chuan who was to visit the Golden Wind and Rain Tower, but Kan Mu knew that there would be a Lotus Lantern Festival in the county government tonight, so he took over this matter. He just wanted to watch the Lantern Festival with Mirren Qingshan. Su Chen, the backyard is a private place. No disciples are allowed to enter, including you. Keiwa said at this time. Disciple understands. Su Chen nodded. He had not thought about entering the backyard before, but now he was a little curious. When Su Chen responded, the four had already walked out of the Xiangsu villa. Only Su Chen was left in the courtyard. Su Chen did not care. He first went to the armory to search, but he did not get any wool. Then he closed the door of the villa. He entered the secret room to practice. Who made his body's early practice progress too far behind others, so he could only try to catch up on his own. Chapter 111 Beishaya Nayu's Blood Sword. Chapter 111 Beishaya Nayu Saber. Blood Saber at dusk. Su Chen came out of the secret room of Xiangsu Villa and returned to his own courtyard. On the way, a errant disciple walked towards Su Chen. Sir, this is a secret letter from the Lord of Bei Tower. When the errant disciple approached Su Chen, he whispered a word and then took out a secret letter from his arms and handed it to Su Chen. Then he staggered with Su Chen and left quickly. The person who delivered the letter was a spy trained by the people of Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower, who was responsible for the information transmission between him and the county government. In the courtyard, Su Chen opened the secret letter, his eyes slightly condensed, and the letter mentioned that Golden Plum Bottle did have the ability to bring the dead back to life. Triggering task, the host touches Golden Plum Bottle, snatches Golden Plum Bottle, and is rewarded with 1 Golden Plum Bottle. Side effect elimination card. Su Chen didn't care about the triggering task. What he cared about was the effect of the Golden Plum Bottle, which was to bring the dead back to life. Once such a treasure is born, no one in the world will not be tempted. Lingnan County, it is impossible not to be in chaos. Thinking of this, Su Chen's eyes condensed. If this matter was spread by that Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower, then the momentum of Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower would be further enhanced. Of course, Jin Fengxiaoyu Tower only spread it and did not confirm the truth of this matter. Thinking of this, Su Chen decided to let Bei Chaofei spread the news tomorrow. He wanted to see the thoughts and movements of other forces in Lingnan County. Then he went into the house, prepared to rest. But then he thought of getting a blue lottery card when Jin Fengxiaoyu Tower opened today. With a thought in his mind, he used it directly. Congratulations on winning the God Sword Invincible Bei Shianayu Saber Blood Sword. Then a black knife appeared in Su Chen's hand. The handle was black, and the scabbard was black. There was a hint of dark red in the black, which should be caused by years of blood erosion. Seeing this, Su Chen couldn't help but pull out the long knife, and a huge murderous intent spread from the blade. Su Chen shuddered all over. Immediately put the long knife into the scabbard. This murderous intent is so strong that it gives me chills. This knife is stronger than my Xiaoyu knife that has entered the weapon level. Su Chen thought to himself. On the other side, in the Northern Pacification Office, Yan Yu's expression was gloomy. Shangwenzu, that old guy, really has no courage at all. He actually ran away with his men. Wait for me to find a chance, and I must deal with this Shangwenzu. Yan Yu yelled. Pei Xiangsu beside him did not speak. At this time, Yan Yu was angry, so it was better for him to speak less. At this time, a guard appeared outside the hall. The guard glanced at the hall and saw Yan Yu, who was angry. He looked a little flustered and didn't know whether he should go in. Pei Xiangsu walked out of the hall when he saw this. The attendant immediately came to Pei Xiangsu's ear and said a few words. Suddenly, Pei Xiangsu's eyes changed, waved his hand to let people leave, and he returned to the hall. What happened? Yan Yu looked at Pei Xiangsu with a bad face and said, Sir, we may be in trouble. Just now, there was news from the capital that the Lingayu sword sect may have clues about the golden plum bottle. Pei Xiangsu said in a deep voice. What did you say? You said that there was news from the capital that the Lingayu sword sect had information about the golden plum bottle. Yan Yu asked with his pupils shrinking suddenly. Yes, this news should have spread in the capital. I estimate that it will not take 2 days for this news to spread in the county city. Pei Xiangsu said. But, I didn't expect to hear such news at this time. You asked someone to send the body that has been deprived of water to the cold storage. The golden plum bottle can bring people back to life. As long as I get the golden plum bottle, I can revive my son. This news comes too timely. Yan Yu said with a big laugh. Sir, when the golden plum bottle appears, the capital will definitely send someone here. I have received a secret report that Helian Chunshu, the son of the Marquis of Zenon, may come to Lingnan Prefecture. The Marquis of Zenon is one of the core figures behind our Northern Pacification Division. Once the young Marquis comes, you may have to hand over the power of the Northern Pacification Division of Lingnan Prefecture. Once this power is handed over, it will be difficult for you to obtain the golden plum bottle at that time. Pei Xiangsu said in a deep voice. Hearing Pei Xiangsu's words, Yan Yu's face sank. It was indeed as Pei Xiangsu said. Once Helian Chunshu arrived, the power of the Lingnan Northern Pacification Division would inevitably be transferred. At that time, he could only obey Helian Chunshu. Even if he got the golden plum bottle, he would still have to give it to Helian Chunshu. And Helian Chunshu would not lend him such a treasure to revive his son. By the way, contact the Qinglang Temple and see if they have any reply. Yan Yu took a sip of water and said. The great Dharma King of Qinglang Temple has not come out of retreat yet, and the other Dharma Kings of Qinglang Temple are unwilling to take action. Pei Xiangsu said in a deep voice. At the critical moment, it is useless. Yan Yu slapped the table beside him. Bang! The table beside him was directly smashed by this palm. Master, we need to calm down now. We must find a way to get this golden plum bottle. Once we get it, the eldest and third sons may be resurrected. The body of the third son has just been transported back from King Cheng and buried not long ago. I will go to the third son's grave later and secretly dig out his body and send it to the underground ice storage together with the body of the eldest son, waiting to get the golden plum bottle and resurrect the 2 young masters. Pei Xiangsu said. Hearing Pei Xiangsu's words, Yan Yu's eyes condensed and said, it seems that you should have an idea here. Tell me. Pei Xiangsu has cooperated with him for decades. He knows Pei Xiangsu very well, and Pei Xiangsu actually said so he should have an idea. Sir, we can pass this news to Qinglang Temple and Xiangsha League, and use them to obtain the golden plum bottle. Pei Xiangsu said. Qinglang Temple has drawn a clear line with us this time, so there is no need for us to tell them this news. Yan Yu said in a deep voice. His son Yan Duanshu joined the Qinglang Temple as he Dharma King, but now his son is dead. Qinglang Temple did not come forward to help him take revenge. So why should he tell Qinglang Temple this news? Sir, even if we don't tell Qinglang Temple, I think Qinglang Temple will know in a day or two. In this case, why don't we show goodwill to Qinglang Temple, so that Qinglang Temple can also owe us a favor? Pei Xiangsu said. Hearing this, Yan Yu's eyes lit up. What Pei Xiangsu said was indeed a good idea. If the three families are all interested in the golden plum bottle, they can not only cooperate, but also supervise each other. This way, it will be most beneficial to him. You do this. Yan Yu nodded. I understand. I will go to the third young master's grave first. Pei Xiangsu said, and then left the hall. He wanted to dig up Yanshu's grave first, and put Yanshu's body into the cold storage. The longer the body is stored outside, the more likely it is to rot. Chapter 112 Gold Mine, Money Gang, Killing Building Without Regrets. Blood Flag Sect. In a secret room, Shangguanzu, the leader of the Blood Flag Sect, was standing in front of a man in black. The man in black was wrapped in a black robe and wore a mask on his face, leaving only a pair of hawk-like eyes. Shangguanzu was burly and exuded a strong bloody aura, but he seemed very restrained in front of the man in black robe. Third brother, why did you come to Lingnan Prefecture? Shangguanzu asked with a bow. It was reported from the capital that Lingayu Sword Sect had clues about the golden plum bottle. This is our opportunity. Once the golden plum bottle is out, Lingnan Prefecture will definitely be in chaos. It is a good opportunity for us to expand. That's why I asked you to evacuate immediately after I came. Yan Yu of the Northern Pacification Division has been abandoned. Helian Chunshu, the son of the Zenon Marquis in the capital, has come to Lingnan Prefecture and will definitely take over Yan Yu's position as the leader. By then, Yan Yu will definitely be gradually replaced. The masked man said. The voice was deep and rich, and it exuded a sense of majesty. It looked like a person with power. Young Marquis Helian Chunshu, he is probably only here for a while, and will not stay here for a long time. Once Helian Chunshu leaves, Yan Yu will still be the leader of the North Pacification Division of Lingnan County. Our next move will depend on him. Shangguanzu said. Power, once transferred, will never be taken back. Helian Chunshu took over the North Pacification Division of Lingnan County. Even if he leaves, he will arrange his own people to take over this position. Yan Yu has no chance. The man in black robe said in a low voice. But Yan Yu should have someone in the North Pacification Division of the capital, otherwise, he can't be the leader of the North Pacification Division of Lingnan County. Shangguanzu said. Yan Yu followed Fang Yingken's lineage, but Yan Yu has been trying to get close to the right Prime Minister Fu Zongxu for many years, which led to him being abandoned by Fang Yingken. The reason why he was not removed from the position of the leader of the Northern Pacification Division of Lingnan County was probably because Fang Yingken didn't touch him for Fu Zongxu's sake. But now the Marquis of Zenon wants to touch him. Fang Yingken won't care, and Fu Zongxu is not the core power figure behind the Northern Pacification Division, so he can only be abandoned. The visitor said in a deep voice. But this is not what we care about. What we want is chaos in the Lingnan County government. Only when there is chaos can our Jin Qian gang enter the Lingnan County city. The visitor said in a deep voice. You should try your best to make friends with the Jin Feng Xiaoyu Tower, and you must find a way to get the Qin family's mine in Zishan from the Jin Feng Xiaoyu Tower. There is a gold mine in the Zishan mine. The visitor continued. What? Gold mine? The Qin family has been mining for so many years and there is not a single grain of gold. Shangguanzu's face showed shock. They will never be able to mine the gold mine. The people in the mine have all been controlled by our Jin Qian gang, and the mining direction is staggered. The visitor continued. This, third senior brother, I understand what you mean. I will go to the Jin Feng Xiaoyu Tower in a while, put down my attitude, and offer favorable conditions to let them give up the Zishan mine. Shangguanzu said. Okay. During this period of time, I will stay here to pay attention to the situation in Lingnan County. Of course, if we can get the clues of the golden plum bottle and report it to the eldest brother, I think the eldest brother will be very happy. The visitor continued. Don't worry, third senior brother, I will investigate here. I will go to the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower first to see if I can get the Zishan mine. Shang Wenzu said. Okay, I will wait for good news from my junior brother here. The visitor nodded. Shang Wenzu bowed and left the secret room. After leaving the secret room, Shang Wenzu's eyes slightly condensed. Zishan gold mine, golden plum bottle, I still know too little. Soon, they came to the main hall. Prepare a generous gift. I'm going to Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower to meet the owner Bei Chaofi. Shang Wenzu said to a servant in the hall. Of course, many forces are also heading to Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. Powerful forces are always sought after. Another place. Shan Gate. Su Chen has been practicing these 2 days, but his own strength has not improved very quickly. Martial arts practice is as slow as sailing against the current. There is no explosive speed in the early stage. It seems that it will take some years to practice hard on my own. Su Chen thought to himself. He has also been using 1000-year-old ginseng these 2 days, but he did not swallow it directly like he used blood ginseng before, but sliced it and increased the body's functions little by little. Dang dang. There was a knock on the door of Su Chen's courtyard. He got up and went to the courtyard to open the door. Brother Su, your letter. Who gave me this letter? Su Chen was a little confused. He opened it and saw that it was Liu Wumei who asked him to go down the mountain to meet. Could it be that Liu Wumei has settled the matter of entering Changhan Palace? Su Chen thought to himself. After putting away the letter, Su Chen first came to Xiangsu Villa. Qi Yulinger had already returned. Su Chen told her that he was going down the mountain. After all, he was in charge of the arsenal now. He was not in the villa, so he had to tell her. After saying goodbye to Qi Yulinger, Su Chen quickly went down the mountain. The outer city of the prefecture. There are also many people living outside the city of Lingnan Prefecture, which is called the outer city. Outside a small courtyard. Su Chen looked at the small courtyard in front of him, and he was a little confused. He didn't understand why Liu Wumei would ask him out here. Su Chen pushed open the door of the small courtyard and walked in. Inside the small courtyard, Liu Wumei was wearing a black long skirt, a veil on her face, and stood in the manner with a graceful figure. Seeing Su Chen coming, a smile appeared on her face. You were not driven out of Changhan Palace, were you? Otherwise, why didn't you see me in Changhan? Su Chen looked at the other party and said, this time I came to you, mainly to ask for your help. I want to kill someone. If I kill him, I will be in charge of Lingnan Prefecture Changhan Palace in the future. Liu Wumei said. Hearing this, Su Chen frowned slightly and said, you want to kill Lao Wuhu, but he is your senior brother. He betrayed Master in Changhan Palace, and Master asked me to clean up the mess. But my senior brother has been operating here for countless years, and there are some powerful people around him. He needs to find someone to hold them back, so I thought of you. Liu Wumei said. Clean up the mess. Su Chen frowned slightly and said, isn't your Changhan Palace very loose? Why are you still afraid of betrayal? Liu Wumei wanted Su Chen to join Changhan Palace before, but she didn't say this. He is different. He is the master of Changhan Palace in Lingnan County. This identity cannot be betrayed or loose. If you join, there will be no such restrictions. Liu Wumei looked at Su Chen and said, is that so? That's not bad, but to be honest, I really don't take your senior brother seriously. Su Chen said. Although his realm has not reached the peak of the refining god realm, he may not be unkillable at the peak of the refining god realm. Chapter 113. No flowers, cutting with a sword in the wind. Now that Su Chen's strength has increased, he doesn't care much about Lao Wuhu. It seems that you don't take my senior brother seriously. Why don't you deal with my senior brother? Looking at Su Chen's appearance, Liu Wumei said. As long as the money and resources are in place, if you want your senior brother to die, I can also find a way to kill him. Su Chen said. That's good. This is the deposit. After the matter is done, I will give you another gift. While Liu Wumei was talking, He took out a small brocade box from his sleeve and placed it in front of Su Chen. Open it and take a look. A golden light appeared in Su Chen's eyes, and it was a bead emitting golden light. Discover ordinary golden spirit beads, wearing and absorbing, can temper the body, and reward 2 white lottery cards. At this time, Su Chen knew the information of this bead, and got 2 white lottery cards. This is a golden spirit bead, which can temper the body of a cultivator. I still have to thank Jin Feng Xiaotar. They let me win this golden spirit bead from my senior brother. Liu Wumui said. You are so cruel. You use other people's things and ask for help to kill him. Su Chen looked at Liu Wumui and said. Although he said so, he put the brocade box containing the golden spirit pearl into his arms without hesitation. His physical body technique, the unmoving demon god technique, is also for tempering the physical body. With this thing, he can reduce the time of tempering the physical body. How could he not want it? When do you do it? Su Chen asked. Tonight. Liu Wumui said. You will attack him tonight. Have you arranged everything here? Su Chen asked. No preparation, because he wants to attack me. If I don't do it again, I may be imprisoned by him. Liu Wumui said. Okay, then I will find a way to kill him tonight. Su Chen said. Lao Wuhu is quite powerful, but if he finds an opportunity, he can kill him, even if he does not burst out his full strength. Come back to Changhan Palace with me. At that time, surround and kill Lao Wuhu in Changhan Palace. Liu Wumui said. Eternal Regret Palace is your senior brother's territory. It's a little difficult for us to ambush and kill him there. Su Chen looked at Liu Wumui and said. That means that the 2 of them can't deal with Lao Wuhu. It's a little troublesome, but it's the best chance. I'm not looking for you to kill Lao Wuhu. You just need to help us stop some of his men. My senior brother's life will be taken by me and another person. Liu Wumui looked at Su Chen and said. So you came to me just to stop the men? Su Chen looked at Liu Wumui and said. Don't talk nonsense. It's getting late. There is a set of clothes and a human skin mask in the room. You change into them, and we will leave from the dark. Liu Wumui looked at Su Chen and said. Seeing this, Su Chen didn't say anything else. He entered the room and changed into a set of clothes, which was an ordinary Changhan Palace disciple's robe. On the way to Changhan Palace, Su Chen thought of the 2 white lottery cards he had just received. Previously, when he exchanged for a blue lottery card, he drew Bei Xianyu's blood knife. Su Chen felt that he would not be able to draw characters recently, so he did not need to keep these 2 white lottery cards. Experience card for Wuhu amongst Yingfeng Yidaos and special skill, a bottle of Western region deer blood pill, 10/bottle. This Su Chen did not expect that he would draw Wuhu amongst Yingfeng Yidaos an experience card. Wuhu Monk is a character who appeared in Chuliuxiang. His strength is absolutely extraordinary. If Chuliuxiang had not been determined to die, he might not be his opponent. Unexpectedly, he drew his special skill, Yingfeng Yidaos an experience card this time. This knife's special skill is combined with my Xiao knife. With one knife, I will see that Lao Wuhu can't stop it. Su Chen thought to himself. Soon, he returned to Changhan Palace with Liu Wumui. When entering the palace, Su Chen suddenly felt that he was locked by a thought, and this thought carried a fierce killing intention. His eyes condensed. He is the person I invited. Just when Su Chen wanted to ask something, Liu Wumui spoke. When Liu Wumui finished speaking, a woman wearing a veil and carrying a quiver on her back walked in from the dark. He is the person you invited, but he is a little weak. The woman in black looked at Liu Wumui and said, this is my business, you don't need to ask about it. We will do it tonight. Liu Wumui said, everything is up to you. After the woman in black carrying the quiver on her back finished speaking, she walked into the dark of the palace. This person should be someone who came from Changhan Palace. He is quite strong, but a little arrogant. Su Chen glanced at the woman carrying the quiver in the dark and thought to himself. Of course, the other party's ability to restrain his breath is also extraordinary. If he hadn't seen the other party walk into the dark, he might not have been able to sense the other party. Su Chen also went to the dark on the side. Shen Yi directly restrained all his own breath. The woman in the dark sensed the disappearance of Su Chen's breath. Her face changed, and a dark light flashed in the depths of her eyes. She couldn't help but look at Su Chen again. She knew that she had made a mistake. Su Chen might be a first-class killer. In less than a moment, footsteps sounded outside the palace. With the footsteps, Lao Wu walked in from outside the palace. "Junior sister, why are you so anxious to find me?" Lao Wu said. "Brother, master got the news that you betrayed Chang'an Palace and asked me to investigate." Liu Wumui looked at Lao Wu and said. Hearing this, Lao Wu's face changed. "Junior sister, how could I betray Chang'an Palace? This news is not true. You can report directly to master. There is no such thing." Lao Wu said in a deep voice. "Brother, some things cannot be concealed. I advise you to go see master. Maybe master will think of the friendship between master and apprentice and will not attack you and spare your life." Liu Wumui said. Hearing Liu Wumui say this, Lao Wu's face changed and his eyes became gloomy. "It seems that junior sister has found out something. It's a pity. I didn't think of using force on you, junior sister. Now I can only imprison you. There is also arrow rain. You should be in the hall. Come out." At this time, Lao Wu spoke. Hearing this, Liu Wumu's eyes condensed. She didn't expect Lao Wu to know that arrow rain was here. In the dark, the black-clothed woman who was called out slowly walked out of the dark. "I didn't expect that the third young master could find me." The black-clothed woman looked at Lao Wu and said. She restrained her aura, so Lao Wu should not be able to find it. "You and Zishao are the two generals under my master. Zishao is now in Jiangnan, so you should be the one to deal with me." Lao Wu looked at the black-clothed woman calmly. "It seems that the third young master is on guard against the master." The moment he spoke, he grabbed with his right hand, and 3 arrows were placed on the bow in his left hand. Swish, swish, swish. But these 3 arrows were not shot at Lao Wu, but at where Su Chen was. The elderly at home are in the hospital, so the updates may be unstable from today onwards. Chapter 114. Fight. No one can leave. Hiding in the dark, Su Chen's face changed. He didn't expect that the people on Liu Wumu's side would actually attack him. The arrows were extremely fast, and 3 arrows had locked onto his dodging position. At this time, he could only face the arrows head on. His eyes condensed, his palms turned dark, and he suddenly clenched them into fists. Bang! The fist collided with one of the arrows, making a sound of golden swords. The powerful impact also caused Su Chen's body to hit the wall of the palace. "I didn't expect the energy shot by this woman to be so strong," Su Chen thought to himself. But then he kicked the wall with his footsteps and rushed towards the woman. The woman saw that Su Chen's fist collided with her arrows and hit the wall, but she didn't suffer any injuries and rushed towards her. Her eyes condensed, her body retreated rapidly, and 3 arrows appeared in her hands. She drew the bow and shot the arrows instantly. This time, the 3 arrows did not appear in different directions, but were concentrated at one point, rushing towards Su Chen like a meteor. Su Chen turned his body in the air, dodging the 3 arrows, and continued to attack the woman with a quiver on his back. When he reached the woman, he punched out. A strong airflow burst out from his fist, and the surrounding air made a huge explosion sound under this strong airflow. The woman with the quiver on her back was not panicked at all when she saw this. She changed her longbow in an instant, stepped forward, and violently slashed at Su Chen with the longbow in her right hand. The black longbow was like a long sword, with extremely fast speed. A cold light burst out from the longbow. It collided with Su Chen's fist. Bang! Su Chen's footsteps fell, and the rocks on the ground shattered instantly, and the woman with a quiver on her back was shocked back several steps by the huge force. But at this moment, there was a hint of cruelty in her eyes. Because one of the 3 arrows shot out earlier was nailed on the wall, and the other 2 arrows were a step slower and hit the arrowheads. A force of energy flowed out from the arrowheads, and the 2 arrows were instantly turned around and shot towards Su Chen's back. The speed was even faster than before. "Su Chen, be careful." In a hurry, Liu Wumui called out Su Chen's name. At this moment, Su Chen had already sensed the return of the 2 arrows. When he landed, he still bent down, grabbed the 2 arrows with both hands like lightning, and instantly grabbed them in his hands, and then threw them directly at the woman carrying the quiver. Seeing this, the woman flashed, leaving a residual image, and dodged Su Chen's attack. "Su Chen, you are Su Chen." Hearing this voice, Lao Wuhu showed surprise on his face, and his eyes were fixed on Su Chen. He didn't believe the name Liu Wumui called out. At this time, Su Chen was also a little helpless. He called out just now, and his mental quality was a little low. But out of concern, Su Chen subconsciously called out, and he couldn't blame the other party. He took off the human skin mask on his face and said to Lao Wuhu, "Sister Liu, I didn't expect that the person sent by your master was actually one of us." Seeing Su Chen take off the human skin mask on his face, Lao Wuhu was still stunned, revealing an unbelievable look. "You are really Su Chen, how can you be so strong?" Lao Wuhu looked at Su Chen and said, "Is this strange?" Su Chen's tone was very cold. A murderous intent spread over him, especially for the woman carrying the quiver. "Qianyu, you actually betrayed your master." Liu Wumui looked at the woman carrying the quiver and said coldly, "If she didn't want to kill Wuhu, I wouldn't betray her. Not to mention that no one knows that it was me who betrayed her. It was you who betrayed her." The arrow rain looked at Liu Wumui and said. Hearing this, Liu Wumui's pupils suddenly shrank, and her eyes looked at Su Chen. "Don't worry, they recognized my identity, and no one can leave today," Su Chen said coldly. "Once his strength is exposed, his identity will also be identified. Many people will guess that he is related to the Jinfeng Xiao Tower. Although some people now speculate that he is related to the Jinfeng Xiao Tower, they only think that he has contact with the Jinfeng Xiao Tower. But once his strength is exposed, he will be considered a member of the Jinfeng Xiao Tower. These two people today must not think of leaving." After speaking, Su Chen touched his back. He held the Xiao knife in his hand and looked at the rain of arrows with cold eyes. The Xiao knife was unsheathed, and he stepped on the ground and rushed forward again. When he approached the rain of arrows, he instantly pulled out the Xiao knife in his hand. The dazzling knife light instantly stung the eyes of the arrow rain, and the whistling sound of a rainstorm fell towards her. The arrow rain that was originally prepared to shoot backhand could only use her longbow to block the rain like knife light. Swish! When her longbow collided with the Xiao knife in Su Chen's hand, it was directly cut off by the knife light. When the longbow blocked the knife light, she sensed a danger in her heart. So at the moment, when the longbow was cut off, she retreated quickly. But the veil on her face was still cut off, revealing a beautiful face. But at this time, her beautiful face looked too pale. If she hadn't dodged quickly, she would have been cut in the head by the opponent and died. "Your weapon." The retreating arrow rain looked at it solemnly. But what responded to her was the drizzle knife in Su Chen's hand. This time the knife light was not violent, but like a continuous drizzle. The drizzle of the knife light revealed an extremely dangerous feeling. Arrow Rain's face changed drastically. The sense of danger in her heart became stronger and stronger. Boom. However, Su Chen didn't care about her fear and continued to attack. What he wanted now was the death of the opponent. If he dared to attack him, he would die under his knife. Arrow Rain's mind became more and more terrified in the knife light, and her body dodged, but every time she dodged, she would feel as if she was locked by the knife light. If she dragged on, she would not be able to hide. With a push of her foot on the ground, the arrows in her quiver instantly flew into the air, and then she caught them in her hands and threw them towards the knife light in front of her at the same time. But at this moment, she saw Su Chen's figure retracted, the Xiao knife in his hand turned, and he took a step forward, dodging her two arrows. And in the moment of dodging, the blood in his body suddenly surged, and the whole person came towards him like a tiger coming down the mountain. The Xiao knife in his hand slashed directly. It was like the colorful clouds after the evening drizzle. Damn it. Lao Wuhu here sensed the danger of the rain of arrows. His face became ferocious, and he pulled out a soft sword in his arms, and the sword light pointed directly at Su Chen. He wanted to block Su Chen's attack and save the rain of arrows. But at this time, Liu Wumui took action, raised her palm, and a reddish-brown light appeared in her hand. Then she attacked Lao Wuhu. She wanted to help Su Chen block this attack. As long as she blocked this attack, Su Chen would be able to kill the rain of arrows. Looking for death, Lao Wuhu saw Liu Wumui attacking him, and the long sword in his hand stabbed at Liu Wumui's palm like a poisonous snake. Liu Wumui retracted her palm and turned like a butterfly to avoid Lao Wuhu's attack. Ah! When she dodged the sword, a miserable sound came out from the mouth of the arrow rain. Chapter 115 on the importance of weapons. The scream was short, and then there was no sound. Because the woman carrying the quiver had her head chopped off by the long knife in Su Chen's hand. Her body fell to the ground. The body was separated, and blood flowed like a stream of water. Seeing this scene, Lao Wuhu's face changed wildly. He didn't expect Jianyu to die in Su Chen's hands like this. He looked at Su Chen with vigilance. This Su Chen was hiding too deeply. With such strength, how could he be unknown? Could this Su Chen also be from that Jianyu pavilion? Thinking of this, Lao Wuhu felt a sense of terror in his heart. He felt that he had ruined a good hand of cards, putting himself in a completely passive situation. Especially the extraordinary weapon in Su Chen's hand made him very wary. The bow and arrow in Jianyu's hand came from the hands of their Changhan Palace Xianju, an old man, and it was the best weapon among ordinary items. Now it was cut in half by Su Chen's knife. The long knife in Su Chen's hand may have reached the weapon level. If Liu Wumui is added, he was no match for them today, so he had to flee. But Su Chen would not do as he wished. He appeared behind Lao Wuhu like a ghost and blocked the entrance to the palace. Lao Palace Master, where are you going? Su Chen looked at Lao Wuhu and said, Su Chen, are you going to fight me to the death? Lao Wuhu said sternly, who told you who I am? If you don't die, who will die? Of course, you actually had a chance to escape, but in order to kill people and silence them, you secretly transferred all the servants in the surrounding palaces away, resulting in no one here, and no one knew what happened here, and the news could not be spread. While Su Chen was speaking, he raised his palm and grabbed it directly, and the palace door closed directly. Looking for death. Looking for death. At this time, Lao Wuhu seemed a little impatient. Su Chen was not giving him a chance to leave alive. You force me to do this, so I will kill you first. Lao Wuhu's face became sinister, and he turned his body, and the long sword in his hand instantly attacked Su Chen. A sword shadow formed, enveloping Su Chen. Under the sword shadow, the air became distorted. Su Chen's sword flashed and slashed directly. Instantly, the sword shadow was completely shattered, and then the long sword in his hand pointed at Lao Wuhu. Lao Wuhu stared at Su Chen with a sinister look, and also slashed at Su Chen with a sword. The move was like a dragon. The long sword in Su Chen's hand whistled out, and the surging sword energy was like a landslide and tsunami, heading towards Lao Wuhu. Bang! The sword light and the knife light collided, forming a force of energy, sweeping out in all directions. But when the energy disappeared, only the hilt of the long sword in Lao Wuhu's hand remained, and the rest shattered into pieces, and fell to the ground. This is a weapon level weapon. Su Chen looked at Lao Wuhu and said coldly, this. Lao Wuhu didn't expect that Su Chen would have a weapon level weapon in his hand. At this moment, the fear that was more than before instantly swept through his heart, and he roared, and stretched out his hand. A palm slapped out, and a blood-colored stream appeared in the palm, forming the shape of a dragon, attacking Su Chen. The blood-colored energy of this palm surged, bringing a little pressure to himself. But the Xiaoyu knife in his hand attacked again. The figure also shot over violently, and the knife light appeared like lightning, slashing towards Lao Wuhu. At this moment, the knife light directly covered everything about him, making him unable to sense the changes in the outside world. Roar. Lao Wuhu couldn't help but roar at the moment of losing his sense. The huge force caused Su Chen's knife light to deviate, causing Su Chen's move to be dodged instantly. The figure retreated several steps before barely standing. Just as he stood, the knife light that tore everything roared towards Lao Wuhu. Su Chen would not let the opponent have any chance. The desperate enemy must be chased, and the opponent must not be allowed to recover his strength. The figure appeared at the door of the hall like a ghost. Then the knife light fell towards Lao Wuhu like a rain of knives. Lao Wuhu turned his body and dodged a knife, but Su Chen's knife was getting faster and faster, and his dodging speed was getting slower and slower to keep up with the knife light. If you continue like this, you will die. The next moment, a blood-colored pill appeared in Lao Wuhu's hand, and he swallowed it in one gulp. Suddenly, the aura around him began to surge. A huge amount of energy flowed out, forming streams of air. The speed of Su Chen's sword light slowed down. At the moment when the sword light slowed down, Lao Wuhu's face became gloomy. He stepped on the ground suddenly, and the whole person shot out like a cannonball. Sky Eagle Claw. He raised his palm and grabbed Su Chen's head, but Su Chen retreated, turned the long sword in his hand, and slashed towards Lao Wuhu's palm. Boom. At this moment, a huge airwave vortex appeared in his palm, directly pressing on the long sword in Su Chen's hand. The thick blood suppressed the long sword. It made the long sword unable to move forward. Seeing this, Su Chen's eyes flashed with cold light, and a stream of energy from his palm was like the inside of the long sword. Lao Wuhu was already close to the initial stage of soul refining. After swallowing the elixir, his ki was strong, and he showed signs of a breakthrough. Although Su Chen's weapon was of the weapon grade, his own ki combined with the weapon grade weapon could not break the double ki. Haha, you can't break it. I want you dead. Lao Wuhu laughed ferociously. At this moment, Liu Wumui made a move. Liu Wumui also had a long sword in his hand, and the sword energy went directly to Lao Wuhu's heart. The move was a killing move. Seeing this, Lao Wuhu's eyes condensed, and he turned around and rushed towards Liu Wumui. At the moment he turned around, Su Chen retracted his long sword, stepped on the ground, and his whole body rushed towards Lao Wuhu like lightning. The violent ki force burst out from his body, forming a stream of air. It was faster than Lao Wuhu, who turned around to deal with Liu Wumui. With a bang, Lao Wuhu was knocked down by Su Chen and flew out. The whole person hit the wall. Cough cough. A mouthful of blood spurted out of his mouth. The whole person fell to the ground. And at this moment, Su Chen appeared, and the drizzle knife in his hand was like drizzle, scratching his neck without a trace, not giving him any chance to breathe. Insert the knife into the scabbard, and put it on his back. At this time, Liu Wumui looked at Su Chen with horror. In a short time, Su Chen killed 2 people. The strength of these 2 people is much stronger than her. When you were in King Cheng, you were hiding your strength. Liu Wumui looked at Su Chen and said, "No, I still have to rely on this weapon in my hand to defeat them today. Without it, you can't break their ki defense at all. If you can't break their defense, you and I have no chance of winning, and can only escape." Su Chen said, "I didn't expect you to have a weapon. It's right to invite you this time. Otherwise, today would be my death. But I didn't expect that the rain of arrows under Master's hands was actually bought by Lao Wuhu." Liu Wumui sighed in her heart. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116, Treasure House, Windfall. You said your master really didn't know that this rain of arrows had anything to do with Lao Wuhu? Su Chen looked at Liu Wumui and asked with some doubt. Hearing Su Chen's words, Liu Wumui's expression was slightly startled. "Don't you need to sow discord between me and my master? I won't tell my master about your affairs. I'll handle things here. You can go back first." Liu Wumui looked at Su Chen and said, "I didn't sow discord between you and your master. I just have this suspicion. But I can't leave now. These 2 people were killed by me. How can I come empty-handed and leave empty-handed?" Su Chen said, "These 2 people were killed by him, and the spoils can only be his. Lao Wuhu is the master of the branch hall of Changhan Palace. How can he not have treasures?" Hearing Su Chen's words, Liu Wumui said, "But everyone in Changhan Palace is his. It's impossible for you to take the things in this branch palace. When I completely control this branch palace, I will take you to choose. Look at my face." While Liu Wumui was speaking, Su Chen's face began to change, and in the blink of an eye he turned into Lao Wuhu's appearance, and his figure became exactly the same. Seeing the change in Su Chen's face, Liu Wumui showed shock on his face. "No one will doubt it now. Take me to the treasure house. And the key to the treasure house, you should know it." Su Chen looked at Liu Wumui. When Liu Wumui heard Su Chen's words, her shocked eyes recovered and she said, "Your disguise skills are really not simple. I'll get rid of these 2 bodies first." A jade bottle appeared in Liu Wumui's hand, and it was about to drip on the 2 people. But Su Chen's figure flashed, appeared in front of the 2 people, and began to touch the corpses. A secret book emerged from Lao Wuhu's body. Su Chen put it into his arms without looking at it. There were only 300 taels of silver notes, a top-grade jade pendant and a bunch of keys. He also took off Lao Wuhu's clothes. As for Jianayu, there was an archery manual on him, and he only had a dozen taels of silver. They were all poor. Su Chen shook his head and said to Liu Wumei, "It can be dealt with." Liu Wumei couldn't help shaking her head when she saw Su Chen like this. Then 2 drops of corpse-dissolving liquid dripped from the jade bottle, and the bodies of the 2 instantly turned into a pool of thick water. "Let's go to the treasury," Liu Wumei said. Su Chen changed into Lao Wuhu's clothes in the dark and followed Liu Wumei out of the palace. Soon they came to a treasury. There were guards outside the treasury. When they saw Lao Wuhu and Liu Wumei, they immediately stepped forward and bowed. "Meet the palace master and deputy palace master." The guard guarding the treasury of the branch hall saluted. "Wait for me outside." Su Chen imitated Lao Wuhu's voice and spoke. He went into the treasury. As for Liu Wumei, Su Chen ordered her to wait outside. Seeing Su Chen entering the treasure house, Liu Wumei's beautiful eyes were filled with anger, but she did not refute, but waited outside. On the way here, Liu Wumei had already informed Su Chen of the distribution of the keys to the treasure house. So Su Chen opened the door of the treasure house very easily, entering the depths of the treasure house. Inside the treasure house, there was a row of shelves, on which were placed some books and some treasure chests. Su Chen did not even look at them, and directly sent all these things to his storage ring. Why didn't he let Liu Wumei in? It was to collect the things inside. The foundation of the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower was a little small. Su Chen was adding to the foundation of the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. Soon, all the things in the treasure were collected by Su Hao into his storage ring. At this moment, his storage ring was already full. At this time, outside, Liu Wumei's anger had not disappeared, and she saw Su Chen walking in. As soon as he came out, he looked at the guard with a frosty face. "Why is there nothing in the treasure house?" Su Chen said sternly. Hearing this, the 2 guards looked confused. Liu Wumei quickly came to Su Chen and said, "You said that the things in the treasury are gone. Come in and see." Su Chen's face showed an extremely angry expression. Seeing this, Liu Wumei's expression changed, and she rushed in with her people. When she entered the treasury, she saw the situation inside the treasury. Her face changed drastically. The 2 guards who came with her were pale at this time. They were trembling all over. They were on duty tonight, and now the things in the treasury were gone. They would definitely be unlucky. How is it possible? Why is there nothing in it? Liu Wumei looked at the empty treasury and asked to herself, "Come back to the palace with me first. You continue to guard here and investigate all the people who entered the treasury in the past few days." Liu Wumei ordered. The 2 guards hurried back to investigate. Su Chen followed Liu Wumei into the hall. How could there be nothing at all? Did Lao Wuhu move the things away before? Liu Wumei said in a deep voice. "How would I know that? I wanted to pick something. I didn't expect to get nothing. What a loss." Su Chen said. He was so happy in his heart. He knew that his storage ring was already full of things. The treasures accumulated by the Lingnan branch of Changhan Palace over the years would definitely trigger something for him. This harvest was simply a great success. Hearing Su Chen's words, Liu Wumei said, "Wait until I get the things back, then you can choose." But where did Lao Wuhu get the things? Why didn't you hear anything before? Seeing Liu Wumei asking herself, Su Chen said, "Because you are just the deputy hall master. Okay, the work here has been completed. I will go back first. I didn't expect that after all the hard work, I didn't get anything." Su Chen said, and walked out of the palace. He still looked like Lao Wuhu. After leaving the branch of Changhan Palace, Su Chen changed into a black suit in a corner, put on a bamboo hat, and disappeared into the dark. After a while, Su Chen appeared in the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. "Prepare a bigger secret room for me," Su Chen said to Bai Chaofi. Bai Chaofi immediately prepared a big secret room for Su Chen. He dumped out all the things he brought back from the branch hall of Changhan Palace. The gold, silver jewelry, silver bills, and land deeds did not trigger anything. However, a dozen martial arts secrets books allowed Su Chen to obtain 28 white lottery cards. And some rare treasures also got him 5 white lottery cards. Suddenly, Su Chen became rich. 33 white lottery cards. Looking at the 33 white lottery cards, Su Chen was full of smiles, and finally his eyes fell on some land deeds. If we take these places and Jinfengxi Lao sends people again, then in a short period of time, Jinfengxi Lao's momentum will surely rise again. Lao woohoo, I still have to thank you. Prepare so many things for me. At this time, Bei Chaofei entered the secret room and looked at the room full of gold, silver bills, land deeds, rare treasures, etc. with a look of shock on his face. Master, are you robbing Shanman? These are the things in the branch hall of Changhan Palace. You will take these things to Changhan Palace tomorrow and bring the branch hall of Changhan Palace back to my Jinfengxi Lao. Su Chen ordered. Bei Chaofei knew Su Chen's intention and immediately said, I will go to the branch hall of Changhan Palace tomorrow and take it back. Chapter 117. Spirit and Soul Unite. Xiao Qiushu and Liu Wumui are in danger. Su Chen's move was very vicious. Not only did he swallow the other party's treasure, but now he was going to attack the branch hall of Changhan Palace. It was really killing two birds with one stone. Everything here is left to you to deal with. If you can take down the branch hall of Changhan Palace, just take it directly. Su Chen said. Su Chen got everything he wanted inside, and the rest was left to Bei Chaofei to deal with. Yes. Bei Chaofei nodded. He followed Su Chen out of the secret cave. You go and deal with it yourself. I'll return to the courtyard first. In this Jinfengxi tower, Su Chen has his own courtyard. At this time, the moonlight was bright, and a trace of frost was diffused in the air. Su Chen was ready to draw all the lottery cards he got. First, exchange 30 white lottery cards for 3 blue lottery cards. Finally, draw the 3 blue lottery cards and the remaining 3 white lottery cards together. Congratulations on getting one unknown person card, a fragment of the map of the 5 secret places of the Great Chu Empire, the Lu family secret place, and the Cheyenne Luo 7 killing fist infusion card. Congratulations on getting a 5-year power card in the refining spirit realm, a 1x perception card, and a primary arm strengthening card. Some voices rang in Su Chen's ears. Following the voices, Su Chen saw that there was an extra boxing manual infusion card and a fragmentary map in his storage ring. Character cards, power cards, etc. I don't know who the character card will be. Su Chen used up the character card directly and summoned it. Character, Xiao Qiushu. Strength, Soul and Spirit Integration Realm. Looking at this information, Su Chen's eyes were stunned. Xiao Qiushu, a master level figure among the heroes of Shenzhou, practiced, Forget Love Heavenly Book, and, Shocking Sword etc. It can be said that he is a figure among the strong in the book. What's more, Xiao Qiushu is also, Shenzhou Brotherhood, the leader of the martial arts world, and a figure who commands a force. Compared with the invincible master, Xiao Qiushu's demeanor will make people more convinced. Compared with the immortal dragon Ling Hushan, he has more chivalry. Then his eyes fell on Cheyenne Luo 7 killing fist. Su Chen still has few martial arts skills. Of course, he has read a lot of secret books recently. In addition to the Cheyenne Shang fist, the others still need to be practiced, so he has not learned them yet. He directly used the Cheyenne Luo 7 killing fist infusion card. Suddenly, a figure of a practitioner appeared in Su Chen's mind, swinging his fists. When punching, the method of using force seemed to be familiar and imprinted in Su Chen's mind. When the figure disappeared, Su Chen opened his eyes. His eyes were slightly condensed. In this Cheyenne Luo 7 killing fist, different ways of using force, if the arm can't bear it, will burst directly. Then he couldn't help but see the arm enhancement card. He used it directly on the right arm. The left arm has a killing arm, and this primary enhancement has no effect. Of course, the 1x perception card and the 5-year internal strength of the soul refining realm were also used directly. The perception card made Su Chen's perception more acute. As for the 5-year internal strength of the soul refining realm, Su Chen's strength is almost close to the middle stage of the soul refining realm. Practice for a while longer. Maybe I can reach the middle stage of soul refining. My cultivation speed is really too fast. Su Chen thought in his heart. Finally, Su Chen picked up the fragment of the secret scroll. But he didn't understand it. Su Chen didn't know the terrain of Lingnan County and Qingcheng, so he couldn't understand the fragment map. Of course, if it was complete, Chen could still understand it. Wait for Bei Chaofei to come back and ask him to transfer Ling Xian to investigate this map. Chen thought in his heart. The next day, early in the morning, Chen didn't stay here, but summoned Xiao Qiushu to stay in the Golden Wind and Rain Tower to temporarily guard the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. He returned to the mountain and river gate and the Xiangsu courtyard. He began to continue his hard practice. But at this time, in the branch hall of Changhan Palace in Lingnan County, it seemed uneasy, because on the afternoon of the second day, Bei Chaofei went to the branch hall of Changhan Palace to take out the land deed and ask the people of Changhan Palace to leave as soon as possible. Liu Wumui was very surprised when she saw the land deed. She just reported the situation here to Changhan Palace. Bei Chaofei came to her and asked them to move out. Could this be the arrangement made by Lao Wuhu before? Liu Wumui thought to herself as she looked at the land deeds in Bei Chaofei's hand. Give the noble palace 3 days to move out, and we, Jinfengxi Lao, will start taking over these properties 3 days later. Bei Chaofei then took out all the remaining land deeds for shops and other businesses. Liu Wumui's face turned pale. She didn't expect it to be like this. She wanted to take action, but Bei Chaofei was stronger than her, so she could only agree. We will move out within 3 days. Liu Wumui nodded. Okay, I'll come back in 3 days. Bei Chaofei left. But then all the news came out. Among them, the news about Lao Wuhu was that he had escaped. In a manor in Lingnan County, 3 people in black clothes were standing in the hall. Did Lao Wuhu really escape, or? One of them spoke. His voice was a little hoarse, revealing a hint of richness. He should be dead. He wouldn't escape at all. Another person spoke. But how come those deeds are with Bei Chaofei in Jinfengxi Tower? Another person spoke up. Her voice was cold. It was a woman, you mean? Lao Wuhu was killed by the people in Jinfengxi Tower. The first person who spoke up said, maybe someone took the deeds of Changhan Palace and asked the people in Jinfengxi Tower to kill Lao Wuhu. Didn't Lao Wuhu say that a few days ago, the people in Changhan Palace began to suspect him? Lao Wuhu's master is a ruthless person. Maybe she arranged someone to clean up the door. The woman who spoke up said, in Changhan Palace, the man's disciples are only Liu Wumui and Lao Wuhu. Liu Wumui should be arranged by the old woman to replace Lao Wuhu. It is possible that Liu Wumui paid to kill him. The second person spoke up. For a moment, the hall was silent. It seemed that they all agreed with this statement. Then kill this Liu Wumui and frame the death of Liu Wumui on the body of Jinfengxi Lao. Let the people of Changhan Palace deal with Jinfengxi Lao. The woman's voice was cold and stern. This method is not bad. Liu Wumui's strength is average. I will get rid of her. The woman who spoke continued. Liu Wumui's matter is a small matter. Now the Lingayu sword sect is a big matter. The adults have confirmed that the Lingayu sword sect must have news about the golden plum bottle. Let me instigate others to destroy the Lingayu sword sect. Of course, we also need to get clues about the golden plum bottle. You have some friendship with the head of the Lingayu sword sect. You have time to test her. As for Liu Wumui, please ask Brother Huo to take action and get rid of the other party. But you also need to be careful to prevent the other party from having a backhand. The first person spoke. Okay. The two said at the same time and then said goodbye and left. After the two left, the man wearing a cloak took off the cloak on his head. It was a middle-aged man. If someone in Lingnan County knew him, they would definitely be surprised. Because this person is the right provincial historian Zaishianayan. Then the only person he could call sir was the Lingnan County magistrate. Chapter 118 Night Attack, Fight. Late at night. Lingnan County Changhan Palace Branch Hall. Liu Wumui looked at the 3 elders in front of him wearing the clothes of Changhan Palace Branch Hall with a bad face. The things in the treasury disappeared, and there is no trace at all. Liu Wumui asked in a deep voice. There is no clue, Deputy Hall Master. This matter should only be known by the Hall Master. The Hall Master was the last one to enter, and he is also the holder of the treasury key. He should know more about the treasury than us. One of the white-haired old men said. After the things in the treasury disappeared, he also disappeared. Liu Wumui said in a deep voice. This. Hearing this, the three people in the hall were silent at the same time, and they looked at each other. The hall master disappeared, and the things in the treasury disappeared. It is obvious that the things must have been taken away by Lao Wuhu. Looking at the expressions of these three people, Liu Wumui sighed in her heart. In fact, she also thought that the things were taken away by Lao Wuhu. But now Lao Wuhu is dead, it is too difficult to find the things in the treasury. The things in the treasury are not the main thing now. The main thing is that the Golden Wind and Rain Tower now holds the deed of our Chang'an Palace branch hall. The other party wants us to leave in the near future. What do you think? Liu Wumui said. Deputy Hall Master, we can't withdraw from here. Once we withdraw, the face of our Chang'an Palace will be lost. If the headquarters knows, we will probably be severely punished. I think we should find a way to redeem the deed. Damn Lao Wuhu, why did he do this? The old man who spoke earlier cursed. The main thing is that I don't have enough silver notes on me now. It's a bit difficult to redeem this branch hall. This time I asked the three elders to come, and I also wanted to ask the three elders to help together. Liu Wumui said. She had previously used her money to buy the blood demon flower and spend her savings. Now she wants to redeem the deed of Chang'an Palace from the Golden Wind and Rain Tower, but she doesn't have enough money, so she asked these three people. Hearing this, the three people were all stunned. They looked at each other. But in this situation, they have to help. This is related to their lives. Because this is related to the reputation of Chang'an Palace. Once they are driven out of this branch of Chang'an Palace, the main hall will probably not let them go. How much silver is needed? Let's gather it first. The white-haired old man said, after thinking for a moment. I haven't discussed the details with Jinfeng Xiao Tower yet. Tomorrow, old Yan, you and I will go to see Bei Chaofei to discuss the land deed of this branch of Chang'an Palace. But the price should be very high. You go back first. Liu Wumui waved her hand. Her voice was a little tired. Killing Lao Wuhu was a good thing. But now such a situation has arisen. The things in the treasury have disappeared, and the land deed of the shops owned by Lingnan County Chang'an Palace is also in the hands of the other party. The other party will definitely ask for a lion's mouth. The three elders looked at each other, bowed and left. It's a bit difficult. Liu Wumui looked at the disappearing figures of the three people and murmured. It's not difficult at all. As long as you are dead, don't worry about it. When she spoke, a black figure appeared in the hall. The man was wearing a black robe, revealing only a pair of eyes, which were staring at Liu Wumui. The guard outside the hall fell to the ground, leaving a bloody mark on his neck. Seeing this, Liu Wumui's pupils shrank. The other party was here to kill her. Who are you? Liu Wumui said sternly. The dead don't need to know anything. The man who appeared looked at Liu Wumui and said. Liu Wumui's expression became nervous. The other party definitely didn't come with good intentions. Otherwise, he wouldn't come late at night. Are you threatening me? Liu Wumui looked at the black-robed man standing in the hall and said. Before she finished speaking, Liu Wumui suddenly shouted, and her figure shot out towards the black-robed man, and a soft sword appeared in her hand after a stroke at her waist. The cold light flashed, and it shot out towards the throat of the black-robed man. HMPH. Look at this oncoming long sword. The black-robed man raised his palm, which instantly turned into fine iron, and clenched his 5 fingers into a fist. He swept forward with Liu Wumui's long sword. The fist collided with the long sword, making a clanging sound. This sword did not cause any damage to the black-robed man. Liu Wumui's eyes changed. He thought to himself that he might not be the opponent of the other party. On the other side, the black-robed man showed his eyes like a hunter. The next moment, the black-robed man moved, took a step, and the stone bricks under his feet burst into a shattering sound. Then the black-robed man turned into a black shadow and rushed out. The speed was as fast as thunder, which made Liu Wumui, who had a solemn face, feel a sudden shock in his heart. Thousand Mountain Fist. When the black figure arrived in front of Liu Wumui, he punched instantly, and his fist went towards Liu Wumui like a mountain. Swish. Just when his fist fell, Liu Wumui's figure did move slightly. Then the black-robed man's attack directly penetrated Liu Wumui's body. After image. The attack failed. The black-robed man's eyes condensed, and then without any hesitation, he made a claw and grabbed directly at her place. The claw wind was sharp, colliding with the air, making a sharp sound. Swish. At this moment, a white light rushed out, penetrated the claw shadow, and went to the throat of the black-robed man. The black-robed man moved like a ghost drifting, leaving a residual image. But while leaving the residual image, a black figure took advantage of the power on the ground and jumped directly into the air, punching Liu Wumui several times. Suddenly, in Liu Wumui's eyes, the opponent's fist shadow gathered in front of her. For a moment, she couldn't see the root of the opponent's punch. Facing the fierce attack of the black-robed man, Liu Wumui's body was like a butterfly, moving through the hall. I see if you can dodge my punches. Bang, bang, bang. The black-robed man attacked fiercely, but he couldn't take down Liu Wumui, and his expression was a little angry. Boom. A huge amount of ki surged out of his body, sweeping around like a storm, suppressing Liu Wumui with the power of ki, leaving her no room to move, or slowing down the opponent. As his speed slowed down, the black-robed man shot out instantly, and appeared behind Liu Wumui. He slapped Liu Wumui with one palm. But suddenly Liu Wumui paused, and the ki in his body instantly poured into the long sword, and then he turned his hand, and swung the sword, attacking the opponent. The sword was drawn at an extremely fast speed, tearing through the air, and heading straight for the throat of the black-robed man. Although Liu Wumui's sudden use of attack as a way of hiding, made the black-robed man look slightly startled, he did not appear to be panicked. His palm collided with the long sword. Clang. It was like the sound of metal and iron intersecting. Liu Wumui's sword did not break the opponent's palm. Eternal Sorrow Sword. Frost fills the sky. Suddenly, Liu Wumui shouted, and the cold air in his body burst out, poured into the long sword, and attacked the black-robed man. Chapter 119. Death of Liu Wumui, Special Envoy of Chang'an Palace. The cold air attracted the surrounding airflow, restricting the opponent's movements. It was just like the opponent's previous use of Kaiyan Chanshinjin. You have some strength, but that's all. The black-robed man shot out while speaking. His palm attacked Liu Wumui at a very fast speed. At the moment, when his palm was about to touch the long sword, the black-robed man's palm turned into a claw and grabbed the long sword directly. Wumui's eyes were stunned, and the energy in her body surged wildly, trying to repel the opponent's palm. But the opponent's palm exerted force directly. Liu Wumui only felt a huge force appearing in the long sword, pulling her whole person over. Her face changed drastically. At the moment, when her body was pulled, a scarlet light appeared between the fingers of the other palm of the black-robed man. There was a ferocity in his eyes. His body moved forward again, and his other hand directly grabbed Liu Wumui's head. Liu Wumui wanted to abandon the sword at this moment. The opponent's palm had already landed on her head, and the blood-colored energy wrapped around his fingers, directly piercing Liu Wumui's head. Enikun, the heavenly golden hand. Liu Wumui said this. What's the use of knowing? Puff. The black-robed man took off Liu Wumui's head and threw it aside. Then he left quickly. Not long after he left, Chang'an Palace became brightly lit, and exclamations appeared one after another. Soon, the news of the death of Liu Wumui, the deputy hall master of Chang'an Palace, spread. All this, Su Chen and Shan Gate did not know. The next day, Su Chen got up from the bed, had a little breakfast in the cafeteria inside the gate, and prepared to return. But when passing by a place, someone whispered in his ear, Chang'an Palace Branch Hall, Liu Wumui was killed. After the man finished speaking, he staggered with Su Chen. Su Chen, who heard the news, was stunned. Liu Wumui was killed. Have you heard? The head of the Chang'an Palace in Lingnan County, Lao Wuhu, disappeared, and the deputy head of the palace, Liu Wumui, was beheaded last night. I heard that Liu Wumui has a hot body and a beautiful appearance. How can someone kill her? Some people said. Who knows? But Lingnan County has been a bit chaotic recently. Two people came in, while talking beside Su Chen. Su Chen did not stop, and prepared to go to the county government, before going down the mountain, to see what was going on. But when he returned to the villa, Qi Yulinger appeared outside Su Chen's courtyard. Senior Sister Linger, what's the matter with you? Su Chen couldn't help asking. I'm not looking for you. It's the young lady looking for you. Come with me. After saying that, she left first. Su Chen followed behind her and couldn't help but think about who would kill Liu Wumui at this time. Could it be the person that Lao Wu took refuge with? While Su Chen was thinking, they came to Xiangsu Villa, where Mirren Qingchen and Kei Wei were. Meet the master. Su Chen saw Mirren Qingchen and bowed slightly. Something happened recently in the Changhan Palace branch in Lingnan County, and I want you to find out about it. Mirren Qingchen said. Master, I just have some friendship with Liu Wumui from the Changhan Palace branch, but I just heard that Liu Wumui, the deputy hall master of Changhan Palace, was killed. Su Chen said. That's why I sent you to investigate. This is the token of the Changhan Palace special envoy. You can appear in Changhan Palace as a special envoy. When Mirren Qingchen spoke, a token appeared in his hand. A purple word hate was engraved on the token. Disciple understands, and I will go down the mountain to investigate now. Su Chen took the token. His mind changed. This Mirren Qingchen actually has the token of the Changhan Palace special envoy. It seems that he should have some relationship with Changhan Palace. Mirren Qingchen's identity is not simple. However, he does not need to consider these for the time being, and he will have time to find out her details in the future. Then I will take my leave first. After saying this, Su Chen bowed slightly and left. Miss, if this matter is handed over to Su Chen, will there be no results? Kei Wei said. Don't underestimate him. After all, he was born in a family that deals with intelligence. He should be able to find out something. Just keep an eye on him, Mirren Qingchen ordered. Yes. Kei Wei also bowed and left. So many things have happened in Lingnan County. It seems that something big is going to happen. Mirren Qingchen said. County government. In a deep red house, a middle-aged man in official uniform was standing at the door of the hall. He was Zhe Xiaonan, the right governor of Lingnan County. Behind him, not far away, a man in a black robe was sitting on a bench, drinking tea. You are worried about the revenge of Changhan Palace? The black-robed man said. No clues were left. Zhe Xiaonan looked at the black-robed man and said. No clues were left, but Liu Wumui is very powerful. After a few simple fights, she actually recognized me. The black-robed man said with praise. You were recognized by her? Hearing this, Zhe Xiaonan's face changed. She did recognize me, but I had already dealt with her when she recognized me. It's a pity, though, Liu Wumui still has a hot body. The black-robed man sighed. By the way, what do you think about the Lingayu sword sect? Do we need to see it? The news that the Lingayu sword sect has a golden plum bottle has been spread, and the Lingayu sword sect is finished. The black-robed man sighed. Since the Lingayu sword sect is going to be finished, it can't be finished in the hands of outsiders, Zhe Xiaonan said. Hearing this, the black-robed man put down the teacup in his hand and said in a deep voice, you want other forces to encircle and suppress the Lingayu sword sect? Yes, that's what I think. Zhe Xiaonan nodded. But isn't the Lingayu sword sect tied to Prime Minister Kei? If we destroy the Lingayu sword sect, I'm afraid Prime Minister Kei will take action against us. The black-robed man frowned and said, let others take the lead in secret first, and then join forces with the forces of Lingnan County to destroy the Lingayu sword sect. Zhe Xiaonan said in a deep voice. Is that so? Then leave this matter to me. But the matter of Changhan Palace still needs to be investigated. The things in the treasury are very valuable and need to be recovered. The black-robed man glanced at Zhe Xiaonan and said, we will talk about this later. It is not easy for the other party to take the treasures of Changhan Palace from the treasury quietly. When you have time, contact Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower and get back the deeds of some industries in Changhan Palace. Zhe Xiaonan said afterwards. Okay. The black-robed man nodded and left quickly. On this side, Su Chen returned to Lingnan Prefecture again. When he entered Lingnan Prefecture, he went directly to Changhan Palace. Now that he has a special envoy token, he can go to the scene to see Liu Wumui's situation. Liu Wumui is not bad to him. It doesn't hurt to help with revenge. Triggering task, help Liu Wumui to take revenge. Reward 2 blue lottery cards. Help Liu Wumui to take revenge. 2 blue lottery cards. Su Chen was stunned. He didn't expect that the task would be triggered this time. Chapter 120 Zihanayu, Yanyu, Analysis. Inside Chang'an Palace, the three elders in charge looked at Liu Wuma's body with a solemn look and worry. The palace master is missing, and the deputy palace master is killed. This is not a good thing. Once the Chang'an Palace headquarters blames them, they may be in trouble. Do you think Deputy Palace Master Liu was killed by the Palace Master? A middle-aged man with a burly body said in a deep voice. Be careful, let the people from the headquarters investigate this matter. We don't know anything. An old man in black beside him said. What do you mean? Be careful at this time. There are already traces that the Palace Master wanted to take action against the Deputy Palace Master. The Deputy Palace Master is very likely to have been killed by the Palace Master. We can report this speculation. What's more, you are still a participant. If you want to protect yourself, don't hurt us. The burly man who spoke earlier said. Upon hearing this, the old man in black immediately said, I don't know anything about this matter. You must not frame me. Okay, don't argue about this. Think about how to get through this difficult time, said the old man in white robe. At this time, a disciple of Chang'an Palace came in. Elders, the special envoy of the main hall is here. The attendant bowed and said, Special envoy of the main hall. Hearing this, the three people were shocked. How could the special envoy of the main hall arrive so quickly? Please come in. But the three people did not dare to neglect it, and quickly followed the attendant to greet the special envoy. Chang'an Palace Hall. Chen stood with his hands behind his back, thinking in his heart, Liu Wumui was killed at this time. Did the other party notice something? Previously, Chen pretended to be Lao Wuhu and disappeared in Chang'an Palace. But a few days after he disappeared, the other party killed Liu Wumui. It must have been confirmed that Lao Wuhu was dead. Kill Liu Wumui, what do they want to do? Chen was a little confused at this time. At this time, the attendant led three elders in from outside the hall. The three saw Chen wearing a bamboo hat, but they did not salute him immediately. Chen directly took out the token given to him by Miran King Chen. Seeing the token in Chen's hand, especially the purple word hate in the token, the three were shocked. Chang'an Palace has three kinds of tokens. Gold, purple, and silver. The gold one is the token of the Palace Master of Chang'an Palace, and the purple one is held by one of the royal family members who are in charge of Chang'an Palace. The silver one is the special envoy token of the Chang'an Palace headquarters. Of course, the tokens of other elders and the Deputy Palace Master are specially made. They did not expect that the person who came this time was actually a member of the royal family. Perhaps this person has been in Lingnan County for a long time. Meet the special envoy. The three hurriedly saluted. Take me to see Liu Wuma's body. Chen looked at the three people and said. Special envoy, please. The white-haired old man among the three took Chen into the hall where Liu Wuma's body was placed. On the ground on the other side, there were also some bodies of guards. The man who came was stronger than Deputy Hall Master Liu. After a few moves, Deputy Hall Master Liu was beheaded and killed by the other party. The initial guess is that his strength is above the middle stage of the soul refining realm. The white-haired old man said after entering the hall. At this time, Chen had already arrived in front of Liu Wuma's body. The head and body had been sewn together, and there were traces of dried blood from 5 blood holes on the head. What a strong fingertip power. Looking at the blood hole that pierced the head, Chen's eyes condensed and said, do you have any suspects? Special envoy, I guess it might be the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. After the Hall Master disappeared, the Golden Wind and Rain Tower came here with some deeds of the Chang'an Palace and asked us to give up the Chang'an Palace. And that Bei Chaofei is a fingertip master. He has the strength to kill the Deputy Hall Master. I also guess that Lao Wuhu might be from the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. The old man in black said. He is Lao Wuhu's man, and now he must get himself out. Now, the only person who can be framed by him is Jinfeng Ziai Lao. It is not an exaggeration to say that Lao Wuhu is from Jinfeng Ziai Lao. Moreover, Bei Chaofei is also a master of the finger. Hearing the other party's words, Chen's eyes under the cloak condensed. The other party is trying to frame Jinfeng Ziai Lao. He seemed to understand the other party's thoughts, but who is the other party? Find evidence, this matter, you go to do it. Also, find Lao Wuhu as soon as possible. I want to know whether he is alive or dead. Chen said. Yes, I will immediately mobilize the people of Changhan Palace to search. The old man in black said immediately. The special envoy now has another important matter, which is the land deed of Changhan Palace, which is in the hands of Jin Fengzi Lao. You see. The old man in white said. This is your business, but if Lingnan County Changhan disappears, I think you guys don't need to live. This matter, you go and do it yourself. I can't help you. Chen said coldly. He blocked their words and let them deal with it themselves. What's more, he hasn't figured out what the token in his hand represents. Mirren King Chen just gave herself a token and asked her to do the work. It was obviously unusual. What did she want to do? Chen needed to understand the information of the token. On the other side, outside the county city, in a village, Yan Yu, the commander of the Lingnan County North Pacification Division, appeared in a small courtyard in the middle of the village. Pushing open the door of the small courtyard. Inside the courtyard, Zihan Yu, who was dressed in purple, was in the living room of the small courtyard. When she saw Yan Yu coming in from outside the door, her expression did not change at all. Commander Yan, you are here. Please sit down. Zihan Yu waved her hand to let Yan Yu sit down. Is the matter in the capital operated by your Hanyu sect? You want to find someone to replace me? Aren't you afraid that I will report your news? The royal family attaches great importance to the secrets of the previous dynasty. Yan Yu said. Commander Yan, I didn't know about this. We have always had a pleasant cooperation. This matter was caused by the Dharma King and his men. Now that 2 Dharma Kings have died, Lingnan County is in chaos. It doesn't matter whether you are here or not. I asked Commander Yan to come here this time mainly for the Lingayu sword sect. Zihan Yu said. No one would have thought that Zihan Yu had a connection with Yan Yu, the commander of the Northern Pacification Division. In fact, it is normal to think about it sometimes. Zihan Yu has been in Lingnan County for so many years and has not been discovered by the Pacification Division. It seems a little unlikely. Now that the two meet, it is completely clear. Lingayu sword sect can only be destroyed now. I don't know what you think, Miss Z. Yan Yu said in a deep voice. They will definitely be destroyed, but I want to know if they have any news about the golden plum bottle. Zihan Yu said. Who can know this? I always feel that this matter is a bit strange. What happened in Prime Minister K's mansion can actually be spread. It's totally unbelievable. What's more, Lingayu sword sect, don't they know the importance of golden plum bottle and dare to send people to Prime Minister K? So I always feel that Lingayu sword sect may be just a bait. Yan Yu said in a deep voice. Hearing Yan Yu's words, Zihan Yu's expression condensed. He whispered, bait? Who do you think is setting this bait, and who are they fishing for? Although I don't know who is fishing, the person fishing must be someone who knows about the golden plum bottle. Yan Yu said with certainty. Chapter 121 Conspiracy to kill Helian Chunshu. You came here at my request this time, so you must need my help with something. Zihan Yu looked at Yan Yu and said. There is a young marquis coming to the capital, and I want you to help me get rid of him. Yan Yu said. Are you talking about Helian Chunshu? Hearing this, Zihan Yu's eyes condensed. It's him. He should not be your man. Once he takes over the Lingnan County North Pacification Division, I think it will have an impact on your plan. Yan Yu said in a deep voice. Helian Chunshu is a young hero who is very popular among the young generation in the capital. If we kill him, the Zenon Marquis will probably hunt us down. Even if I agree to this, the people in the sect will not agree. If the sect disagrees, I can't mobilize the masters, and I can't kill Helian Chunshu. Zihan Yu said in a deep voice. For this matter, I don't want you Hanyu sect to take action, but I want you to find a way to do this through the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. Yan Yu said. Golden Wind and Rain Tower, do you think they will kill Helian Chunshu? They should know who Helian Chunshu is. Zihan Yu shook her head. As long as enough benefits are given, Golden Wind and Rain Tower will also take action. Of course, don't you want to see if Golden Wind and Rain Tower dares to take action against Helian Chunshu? Yan Yu looked at Zihan Yu and said. Golden Wind and Rain Tower killed 2 Dharma Kings of Hanyu sect in a row. The prestige of Hanyu sect plummeted, and Hanyu sect would not give up such a grudge. This is also the reason why Yan Yu came. But getting rid of Helian Chunshu is also a big crisis for you. Zen and Hao may guess that it was someone you arranged to do it and will take action against you. Hanyu looked at Yan Yu and said, "This is also why I chose Golden Wind and Rain Tower. Golden Wind and Rain Tower has a grudge against me. Do you think I will find the enemy who killed my son and kill him? As long as they suspect, I will immediately take action against Golden Wind and Rain Tower." Yan Yu said in a deep voice. "What a good move, killing two birds with one stone. I need to think about this matter carefully. Even if I ask Jinfeng Ziailao, I'm afraid it will cost a lot." Hanyu said in a deep voice. Helian Chunshu's coming to Lingnan County has a great impact on her plan. Getting rid of him is the best choice. Let them name the price, as long as it's not too high. "Okay, I won't stay here, lest anyone notice anything." Then Yan Yu turned and left. After he left, Hanyu's maid Xiaolan came out from the backyard. "Tell my master about this, and see if she wants to report it to the leader." Hanyu said. "Jinfeng Ziailao has a force behind it, so we must pay attention." "Yes." Xiaolan bowed. "Even if my master agrees, I don't know if Jinfeng Ziailao will accept such a task." Hanyu thought in her heart. While Hanyu was thinking, Su Chen had already left Lingnan County Changhan Palace. Su Chen has not found any useful information about Liu Wumu's death. There are few traces of his attack, and he is still a master of fingertips. This makes people suspect that it was done by Bei Chaofi. What does the other party want to do? Su Chen thought to himself. Of course, he also needs to think about why the other party killed Liu Wumu. Mirren Chen sent him here, maybe just to test himself. At this time, someone should be observing him. Or someone is secretly investigating this matter. After all, on the surface, he, Su Chen, is just an ordinary inner disciple of Shan sect. It is impossible to find the murderer simply by relying on him. Maybe he is just pretending. Of course, Su Chen will also be attentive. It is possible that Mirren Chen is testing him. Mirren Chen's identity is definitely not simple. Otherwise, it is impossible to have the token of Changhan Palace. He didn't know the news about Mirren Chen from Liu Wumu before. He found an inn to stay at casually. Then he walked on the streets of Lingnan County. He wanted to see if there was a tail following him. In the dark of the busy street, Su Chen's face changed, and he put all the hats into the storage ring, and took off the black clothes on his body, turning into ordinary green clothes. Then he went to the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. Now it is very popular, and many people come to buy and sell information. Su Chen was led to Bei Chaofei with the token. "You go first." Bei Chaofei waved his hand to let the person who led Su Chen go out. Then he stepped forward and saluted. "Meet the master. I came here for Liu Wumu's matter. Do you have any information about this matter?" Su Chen asked. "I don't know who did it yet, but I found out that Lao Wu had some contact with Zaishian, the right governor of the county government." Bei Chaofei said. "Right governor?" It can be said that he is the third person in Lingnan County. Lao Wu has contact with the other party. Could it be that the person behind Lao Wu is the right governor? Su Chen frowned slightly. "Are there any other clues? Master of the Finger, how many people are there in Lingnan County?" Su Chen asked afterwards. "My lord, according to the information I have received, Liu Wumu was killed by someone stabbing her head with a finger. From the traces at the scene, the other party didn't have to do that. It was obviously intentional, and might have intended to frame me. According to the information from Times Hall, there are about 30 soul refining masters in Lingnan County who practice the finger refining and palm refining techniques. I'm arranging people to investigate. I believe we can find the other party soon. By the way, my lord has received information that the son of the Marquis of Zenon may come to replace Yan Yu and become the commander of the North Town Government Office in Lingnan County." Bei Chaofei said. "That means we can eliminate Yan Yu. Is there a way to contact this young Marquis?" Su Chen asked. "My lord wants to use the young Marquis to kill Yan Yu." Bei Chaofei said. "I have such an idea, but I also want to see the relationship between this young Marquis and Yan Yu." If the two have no intersection, we can take action against Yanyu after the young Marquis takes office. Also, give me a copy of the information of those 30 people. I will go back and study it. Su Chen also wanted to see who those 30 people were. Yes. Bei Chao took out a bound book from a table not far away and handed it to Su Chen. Su Chen took the book and put it in his arms. What is the voice of Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower now? With the addition of the personnel of Times Hall, it is easier to obtain intelligence here, but Times Hall has been weak in recent years, and many intelligence personnel have left, and they still need to be trained slowly. Bei Chaofei said in a deep voice. Now Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower and Times Hall are training their own spies to obtain intelligence. In fact, there is another way, that is, you buy intelligence from people in the world, buy and sell, and make a profit from the difference. In this way, the intelligence will be enriched, and the expenditure on spies can continue to increase. Su Chen suggested. Hearing Su Chen's words, Bei Chaofei's face showed joy. He didn't think of the method Su Chen said. With this method, they only need to distinguish true from false information. However, it can temporarily get rid of the problem of insufficient spies in the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. Chapter 122, The Assassin Organization, the establishment of the Qinglang Society. At this time, outside the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower, a man wearing a cloak stepped into the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. I want to see your tower, Master Bei Chaofei. The voice was hoarse, but with a chill. The receptionist of the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower changed his expression and immediately went upstairs to report. Inside the building, Bei Chaofei's eyes condensed. He did not meet the other party, but asked someone to ask Nalan Rangan to come out. Although Bei Chaofei was in charge of the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower in Lingnan County, Nalan Rangan knew more about Lingnan County and the entire Great Zhao dynasty than he did. Many times Bei Chaofei asked the other party to handle the affairs of the Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower. Of course, why was he so relieved? That was because Bei Chaofei had the confidence to kill the other party. In addition, there was only one Golden Wind and Drizzle Tower in Lingnan County. But soon, Nalan Rangan brought people to the outside of the room. Bei Chaofei's expression condensed. Su Chen went to the inside of the room. Come in. Bei Chaofei said. Nalan Rangan led people into the room. I want to talk to the owner of the building alone. The black-robed man said. Bei Chaofei waved his hand to let Nalan Rangan leave first. Nalan Rangan left and closed the door. I wonder why you want to see me alone. Bei Chaofei looked at the other party and said in a deep voice. I want to ask you Jinfeng Xiaoyu to help me kill someone. The black-robed man said in a deep voice. Killing a person. Jinfeng Xiaoyu is in the intelligence business, not the assassin business. Bei Chaofei said in a deep voice. What's the difference? As long as the price is right, I think your Jinfeng Xiaoyu should be able to do this. There are things in the world that are not done, but the benefits are not enough. If the benefits are there, why not do it? The visitor said in a deep voice. You are right. I don't know who you want to kill. Bei Chaofei asked. Helian Chunshu, the son of the great Zhaozenan Marquis. The other party said. Hearing this, Bei Chaofei's pupils shrank. The son of the great Zhaozenan Marquis, Helian Chunshu. They have information here. It is rumored that this person is going to come to the North Zhenfu division of Lingnan County. But now someone wants his life. I don't know if you, Jinfeng Xiaoyu, dare to do this. We are willing to take out 50,000 taels of gold to take his life. The person who came said. It's not silver, but gold. Hearing this, Bei Chaofei's expression moved. He didn't expect that the other party would be willing to take out 50,000 taels of gold for a little marquis. Su Chen, who was in the dark, was also shocked. 50,000 taels of gold, if placed in his previous life, would be estimated to be 600 million. I didn't expect that killing a person would be so profitable. But who wants to kill Helian Chunshu? Su Chen thought in his heart. Originally, he was still thinking about getting rid of Yanyu when Helian Chunshu arrived, but now someone offered a high price to kill Helian Chunshu. However, Helian Chunshu's identity is not ordinary. After killing him, it may cause a series of troubles. Although Su Chen summons Zhao Qiushu, the Marquis of Zenan is the one who commands the military power. When the time comes, they will send troops to encircle and suppress their Jinfengxiai Lao, and Jinfengxiai Lao will face a great crisis. The black-robed man with a cloak stopped talking after he finished speaking, staring at Bei Chaofei closely, wanting to see his reaction. At this time, Su Chen, who was in the dark, frowned slightly. 50,000 taels of gold must be earned. As for how to make money, a method is needed. Ask him if there is a time limit. Su Chen secretly sent a message to Bei Chaofei. Bei Chaofei, who was in deep thought, heard Su Chen's message and said, "What are your requirements for time?" Hearing Bei Chaofei's words, the man wearing a bamboo hat moved his eyes slightly. He didn't expect that Bei Chaofei would ask for requirements. This means that he wants to take on this task. Complete this task within a month. The person who came said, 1 month. We, Jinfengxiai Lao, don't do this, but we can introduce you to a force to do it. Of course, our Jinfengxiai Lao can be a guarantor, but you have to pay half of the deposit first. Bei Chaofei said, I don't know what force you are talking about. The person who came asked in a deep voice. A force of Qinglang who? Bei Chaofei said. Qinglang society? The man in the cloak's eyes moved slightly. I'll think about this matter when I go back. If necessary, I will come with half of the deposit. The man in the cloak said. Okay. Bei Chaofei said nothing and waved his hand to send the other party away. But after the other party left, a figure in the Jinfengxiai Tower followed him out. The one who followed was Leng Hushan. Du Gu Wudi and Bei Shianayu are now in the Jinfengxiai Tower in Qingcheng. Leng Hushan is the best master here besides Xiao Qiushu. It is most appropriate for him to follow the other party. At this time, Su Chen walked out from the dark. The Qinglang society that Bei Chaofei just mentioned is what Su Chen just asked him to say. The assassin business is the most profitable. How can they not do it? Qinglang society was very famous in previous martial arts novels. The name is loud and imposing, so Su Chen directly plagiarized it. Moreover, the planning of Qinglang society is also very clear. There are 7 dragon heads, 12 halls, and 365 sub-roles. You don't have to think about it yourself. As long as you summon similar characters, you can fill them in one by one. The young Marquis of Zenon, Helian Chunshu, is not a simple person, so the details of the person who entrusted us to take action also need to be investigated. Su Chen said. You secretly arrange a secret point outside the city. If the other party comes, let him go to that secret point. The Qinglang society must be separated from the Jinfengxiai Tower. Su Chen ordered. Jinfengxiai Tower. Su Chen's definition of him is to become a first-class force in the Great Zhao dynasty. Qinglang society may become such a force, but what Qinglang society wants is mystery. As for Shianai Pavilion, it is a force that does not show up. Yes, I understand. Bei Chaofei nodded. Su Chen then left. After Su Chen left, Nailin Rangan walked into Bei Chaofei's room. Master, do we need to investigate the details of the black-robed man just now? You want to ask about the purpose of coming here, right? That guy wants to spend 50,000 taels of gold to buy Helian Chunshu's life. Bei Chaofei did not hide it from Nailin Rangan. Nailin Rangan is very capable in intelligence and management, and can be his helper. Bei Chaofei is also an ambitious person. He wants to be able to take charge of Jinfengxiai Tower in the end. There will be more and more powerful people behind the master, so he must be better than others in other aspects to help the master control Jinfengxiai Tower. What? Hearing Bei Chaofei's words, Nailin Rangan lost her voice. She looked at Bei Chaofei with some surprise. You agreed. Our Jinfengxiai Tower is not a killer organization, but I can recommend a killer organization to them. Bei Chaofei said. Killer organization? No one in the killer organization of Lingnan County should dare to attack Helian Chunshu. It's not a killer organization in Lingnan County. It's a killer organization called Qinglang Society. Bei Chaofei said. Qinglang Society? Nailin Rangan frowned. She had never heard of this organization. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123 Lock on the target and take action. This force is very strong, with 7 dragon heads, 12 hall masters, and 365 branch helms. The Qinglang Society has some intersections with the adults, and they want to show up recently, so I will help them take on this assassination mission. Bei Chaofei said. And don't investigate this Qinglang Society, so as to avoid accidents. Bei Chaofei said. 7 dragon heads, 12 hall masters, and 365 branch helms. When Nailin Rangan heard this information, she was horrified. From the structure, the other party was too huge, but she was also curious in her heart. Such a force was not noticed before, but it is going to show up recently. But think about Shianaya Pavilion. There are too many hidden forces in this world. After calming down, Nailin Rangan asked, how is the Qinglang Society compared to Shianaya Pavilion? It's hard to say. In terms of strong people, Shianaya Pavilion definitely has more, but in terms of comprehensive strength, the Qinglang Society may be stronger. 7 dragon heads, 12 hall masters, and 365 branch helms. How many people are added to this? The strength must be very strong. So Bei Chaofei is not sure. You only need to know this. I will take care of the Qinglang Society's affairs for the time being. Bei Chaofei said afterwards. Yes, boss. Nailin Rangan is now very curious about the forces behind the Golden Wind and Rain Tower. Of course, she didn't ask much. She had just merged into the Golden Wind and Rain Tower, and had not yet gained full trust. She only needed to do her own thing. On the other side, Su Chen returned to his inn, and began to check the information of the 30 people he got from Bei Chaofei. The person who killed Liu Wumui must be from Lingnan County. And this person should have had contact with Lao Wuhu recently, knowing that Lao Wuhu was going to deal with Liu Wumui. Otherwise, if Lao Wuhu disappeared, they would not have taken action against Liu Wumui so early. They must have known that Lao Wuhu was dead. Here, the people of Changhan Palace are also investigating. In front of the white-haired elder, they are also collecting information about the 30 people. They are all intelligence workers, so of course they can get it. As for the Golden Wind and Rain Tower, the white-haired old man of Changhan Palace marked a few people as key points. As an elder of Changhan Palace, he knew some of Lao Wuhu's whereabouts. Otherwise, he would not know that Lao Wuhu was going to attack Liu Wumui. It seems that the owner of the building is dead. Otherwise, the other party would not attack Liu Wumui. The white-haired old man drew a few circles on several of the 30 people. Come here, send this to the special envoy. The white-haired old man handed the album in his hand to a servant. The servant quickly took the things and went to the restaurant where Su Chen lived. Su Chen recorded all these people in his mind, but he had no clue. Dada. At this time, a knock on the door sounded. Su Chen put away the album in his hand and turned to open the door. Changhan Palace disciple. Special envoy. This is what the elder asked me to send. The servant handed the album in his hand to Su Chen. Su Chen took the album, his eyes slightly condensed, waved his hand to let the servant leave, and closed the door. Looking at the album in his hand, flipping through it, it was the same as Bei Chaofei reported. There were only 3 people who were circled by the white-haired old man. Is this telling me that these 3 people might be the murderer? Su Chen looked at the 3 people in the circle. One was a loner in Lingnan County, practicing the Thunderbolt Vajra hand Lu Chenfeng. The second was the Heavenly Gold Hand Eli Kun, the leader of the Xianjin sect. The third was the deputy leader of the Shan sect, Qin Shan. 1 loner, 2 sects. I just don't know if one of these 3 did it. Su Chen looked at the introduction of the 3 people, his eyes thoughtful. This old guy, he gave me 3 candidates, but he didn't let me suspect who it was. Su Chen didn't believe that they didn't know. We can only see who among them is close to Lao Wuhu. Su Chen is going to Changhan Palace tomorrow and ask them to investigate who among these people is close to Lao Wuhu and has contact with Lao Wuhu. Of course, Jinfeng Xiao Tao will also be notified here, and both sides will investigate at the same time. The next day, Su Chen came to Changhan Palace and met with the white-haired old man directly. Among the 3 people, I need to know who is closest to Lao Wuhu. Su Chen said. Special envoy, this matter involves a lot. I'm afraid your strength is the white-haired old man said in a deep voice. He gave Su Chen the album to give Su Chen something to do, to buy some time, and wait for people from the headquarters to come. Su Chen represents the royal family, and if there is any danger, they may be implicated. Don't you think that I'm the only one coming here? You just need to tell me who is closest to Lao Wuhu here. I will report it, and what the higher-ups do at that time is not my concern. Su Chen said in a cold voice. Of course, he also has a task to avenge Liu Wumei, and he must know who it is. If he gets rid of the other party, he can get 2 blue lottery cards. Maybe he can find the character. In this way, his Kinglan club will be officially online. Among them, Enikun, the leader of Xianjin Gate, is relatively close to the master of Lao Palace, said the white-haired old man. Enikun, the master of Xianjin Hand. Su Chen's eyes flashed with cold light. Okay, I know about this matter, and I will report it, Su Chen said. Then he turned and left. After Su Chen left, a black figure walked in. Great Elder, you are really confused. How can you tell the other party this news? The elder in black robe walked in. The second elder of the branch hall of Changhan Palace in Lingnan County. Are you going to hide it? This matter cannot be hidden. If he can deal with this matter before the arrival of the headquarters, the crisis between you and me may be resolved, the elder said in a deep voice. That's what I said, but I'm afraid he'll be in danger. At that time, the 3 of us might be sacrificed. The second elder in black robe said. He is not the owner of the token. It doesn't matter whether he dies or not, as long as the people behind him are safe. The white-haired elder said. He is not the owner of the token? You mean the people behind him are in the dark? I don't know about that. Don't worry about him. Just assist him, the elder said and left. After the old man left, the old man in black robe frowned slightly. What is this old guy thinking? What is he going to do? He pondered for a moment and left. Not long after the old man in black robe returned to his residence, he secretly left Changhan Palace. When he left Changhan Palace, a sturdy figure followed the old man. The old man in black robe seemed very anxious, but he didn't notice that someone was following him. Soon, the old man in black robe appeared in a house. Zay Mansion. How did he get involved with Zay Xianan? Seeing the old man in black robe walk into the house, the sturdy man frowned slightly and left quietly. Su Chen did not go back to report to Mirren Chen immediately. Instead, he was waiting for the investigation of Jinfeng Xiao Tower. If it was Enikun who did it, then he would get rid of Enikun first and complete Liu Wumei's task. Chapter 124. Direct Action. Night Visit to Enikun. You said the second elder went to the residence of the right provincial governor Zai Xianan. In a secret room, the chief elder of the Lingnan County Changhan Palace branch hall looked at the sturdy man in front of him and said. This sturdy man was the third elder of the Changhan Palace branch hall, Li Dang. I saw him enter the Zay mansion in person. The chief elder said that the head of the Lao Palace had colluded with Zai Xianan before. This is a little unlikely. Li Dang asked doubtfully. Yes, Lao Wuhu and Zai Xianan have no place to cooperate. What is the second elder going to do in the Zay mansion at this time? The white-haired elder also showed a puzzled look on his face. Does this matter need to be informed to the special envoy? Li Dang said. Let's talk about it after the people from the headquarters come. Anyway, we have already provided the special envoy with the information about Enikun. What the special envoy does has nothing to do with us. Send someone to keep an eye on Xianjin Shao Enikun and inform me immediately if there is any news, the white-haired elder ordered. Okay. The third elder Li Dang nodded and turned to leave. Inside the secret room, the elder's expression became solemn. It seems that Lao Wuhu is really dead. When you tried to kill Liu Wumei, you were killed by Liu Wumei. The person who entered the secret vault must be a fake. But they didn't expect that all the things in the secret vault were moved away by you. You are dead, so the people who cooperated with you killed Liu Wumei, the white-haired elder said in a deep voice. He was sure that Lao Wuhu was really dead now. On the other side, the black-robed man wearing a bamboo hat who appeared in the Golden Wind and Rain Tower today appeared in an abandoned manor. Inside the manor, a figure was in the dark. A woman wearing a veil was standing there. It was Zi Hanayu from the Hanayu sect. The black-robed man entered the manor and said to the shadow, The Golden Wind and Rain Tower did not accept the task of killing Heli and Chunshu, but they introduced a killer organization called King Lan Hu. The black-robed man said. King Lan Hu? The person in the dark heard this and showed a puzzled look on her face. She had never heard of this killer organization. I heard from Beich Alpha that this King Lan Club is also just about to come out, and it is a friend of theirs. The black-robed man replied. Could it be that they are hidden strength? How can they take our business? Zihanayu asked. Golden Wind and Rainy House will introduce you, but the other party needs to pay half of the deposit first. The black-robed man said. Pay the general deposit first. Zihanayu frowned slightly. After I find someone to discuss this matter, you can go to Golden Wind and Rainy House again. Zihanayu said in a deep voice. Okay. The black-robed man nodded and left quickly and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Zihanayu, who was in the dark, came out, frowned slightly, turned around and left, and went to the house of Yan Yu of the Northern Pacification Division. Yan's mansion. In the house, Pei Xiangsu and Yan Yu were standing in the living room. The two looked solemn, as if they were waiting for someone to come. Suddenly, a black figure walked directly into the living room. Pei Xiangsu saw the visitor and quickly closed all the doors, and waited outside the door. Did the Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower agree? Yan Yu said. Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower did not agree, but they introduced a killer organization called King Lang Society. I wonder if Commander Yan knows about this. King Lang Society? Zihanayu asked. King Lang Society? There is no information about such a force in my Bee's Henfu division. It should have never appeared. Yan Yu frowned and said. This King Lang Society should be related to Shianaya Pavilion behind Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. This Shianaya Pavilion can secretly support Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower, and can also create a King Lang Society. This time they have to pay half of the deposit first. Zihanayu said. They are asking for half of the deposit before they do anything. This King Lang Society is really brave. Yan Yu said coldly. What do you think about this matter? Zihanayu looked at Yan Yu and said. Let's contact them first to see how strong they are. If they can help us kill Heli and Chunshu, the gold will be delivered in full. Yan Yu said. Okay, then I will contact them. Zihanayu nodded and did not stay here. She turned around and pushed the door open to leave. The old man who was guarding outside walked into the hall after Zihanayu left. Sir, has Zihanayu dealt with Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower? Pei Xiangsu said. Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower introduced another organization called King Lang Society. According to Zihanayu, this King Lang Society may be the same as Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower, and they are all forces arranged by Shianaya Pavilion in the Great Zhao Dynasty. Yan Yu frowned and said. Sir, we don't need to think too much, as long as Heli and Chunshu is dead. King Lang Society, Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower, no matter what their relationship is, once Heli and Chunshu is dead, we can just say that the killer came from Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. Pei Xiangsu said. But this King Lang Club needs half of the deposit in advance. You should prepare some secretly and don't reveal any flaws. Yan Yu said. I will go and raise funds secretly. Pei Xiangsu bowed and left the living room. Yan Yu sat on the bench, tapping his fingers on the table. Once this thing is done, it will be difficult for him to turn back. Su Chen received news from Jinfeng Xiaoyu Tower. Lao Wu, who did meet an icon recently. Just after Liu Wumui became the deputy hall master of the Changhan Palace branch hall. It should be this Xianjin Shaoen icon, then get rid of you first. Su Chen didn't need to understand the other party's motive for killing. He just needed to kill the person who killed Liu Wumui. It was late at night and the coolness swept out. Su Chen put on his nightgown and quickly left the inn. At one place, he met a figure, and the one who met him was Zhao Qiushu. Xianjin Shaoen Icon was the master of Xianjinmen, the master of a sect, but it was difficult for Su Chen to kill him. So Zhao Qiushu took action. My lord. Zhao Qiushu said, after seeing Su Chen bow slightly. My lord, an icon from Xianjinmen has been in Lingnan County recently and has not returned to Xianjinmen. Subordinates, take the lord there. Zhao Qiushu said. Let's go. Su Chen nodded. There were no people on the street late at night, only the night watchmen holding lanterns on the street. The two of them moved very quickly. They quickly appeared outside a mansion. That Enikon is here, my lord. Should I catch him, or take action inside? Zyokiyoshu stopped and said. Go in, let's find out the details of the other party first. Chen said. He also wanted to see if he could learn something from Enikon. The two of them jumped into the courtyard. Zyokiyoshu took Chen through several corridors, came to a wing room, and pushed the door directly into it. Chapter 125 Jingwuming, a Fei. Zyokiyoshu's strength is much stronger than that of Enikon, the golden hand that day. They have no need to hide their whereabouts. The sound of the door being pushed open instantly awakened Enikon, who was sleeping soundly. He raised his hand and grabbed the convenient clothes and put them on him instantly. He raised his hand and waved. The candles in the room lit up instantly. He looked at Zyokiyoshu and Chen, who entered with a serious look. Chen wore a bamboo hat, while Zyokiyoshu wore a green robe without covering his face. Who are you? Enikon looked at Zyokiyoshu and said. The man in the black robe did not give him a sense of oppression, but Zyokiyoshu gave him a palpitating feeling. Did you kill Liu Wumei? Zyokiyoshu did not speak, and Chen spoke. Hearing Chen's words, Enikon's face changed. Are you from Changhan Palace? People from Changhan Palace will not arrive so soon. Enikon looked at Chen and said. It seems that you killed Liu Wumei, so tell me why you killed Liu Wumei. Chen looked at Enikon and said. If you want to know, take my palm first. At this moment, Enikon stomped the ground suddenly. Bang! The bricks and stones on the ground shattered. His figure suddenly shot towards Chen. His palms turned golden, and he clenched them suddenly, and then punched out. The fist blasted out with a strong wave of energy. Chen, who was opposite him, had a fixed look in his eyes, but his figure did not move. But Zyokiyoshu, who was beside him, burst out with energy in his body, and the surging energy formed a huge force field that directly swept towards Enikon. Enikon, who had made the move, was pressed by the wave of energy, and knelt on the ground with a plop. The bricks and stones on the ground shattered directly, and the whole house seemed to shake. Some people outside the house heard the movement and quickly came here. But Zyokiyoshu, who was standing at the door, raised his palm and slapped it out. The huge energy was like a wave, and those who rushed into the courtyard were slapped out with one palm, spitting blood and dying. People who came from behind saw this situation. They didn't dare to step into the courtyard at all and left quickly. They didn't want to be killed by someone like the people who rushed in earlier. The state of unity of spirit and soul. Seeing this, Enikon's face turned pale. His eyes were fixed on Zyokiyoshu. He didn't expect that the one who attacked him was actually a strong man who had united his spirit and soul. In front of such a strong man, he had no chance to escape, and his face was as hen. Tell me, why did you want to kill Liu Wumei? Chen asked from the side. Hearing Chen's words, Enikon's expression moved, as if he was a little moved. Tell me, who is the person who cooperated with Liu Wuhu? And what is the purpose of your cooperation? Chen continued. It seems that you are really from Changhan Palace, and you should have come to Lingnan County Mansion a long time ago. Liu Wuhu should have been killed by you. Enikon looked at Chen and said. Yes, Liu Wuhu died in my hands. I was just cleaning up the mess. Tell me, maybe I can spare your life. Hearing Chen's words, Enikon said, okay, I'll tell you. Who is it? But when he was talking, his aura suddenly surged and rushed towards Chen. Die. He raised his palm, and a burst of energy burst out from his palm, slapping towards Chen. The speed of his attack was extremely fast, tearing the air directly, like a storm hitting the shore. The force was so strong. Before he died, he also wanted to take someone with him. Zyokiyoshu. He couldn't kill him, but he could kill Chen. But at this time, Zyokiyoshu's long sword was instantly unsheathed, and he slashed with the sword. The sword light tore through Enikon's palm power, and slashed on his face. Enikon, who had made the move, suddenly stopped. Then he fell to the ground with a plop. He wanted to look up at Zyokiyoshu, but he didn't raise his head, and fell directly to the ground. Chen walked forward, and turned Enikon's body over. A sword mark appeared on his face, which went deep into his head, but did not penetrate it. The degree of control of the sword energy was so terrifying. Chen searched for Enikon's things and found some banknotes and a jade pendant with a blood red crescent. Other useful things were not found. Just when Chen was about to put away the crescent jade pendant, he found that blood was flowing from Enikon's forehead, and it turned from red to black, and his exposed skin became dark. This is poisoning. Zyokyushu walked in front of Enikon and reached out to check. A stream of energy entered the other party's body, and his face condensed. Master, Enikon's body was poisoned. Just now, it should be my sword energy that destroyed the poison sac in his body, allowing the poison to spread throughout his body. It seems that he should be controlled by someone with poison, otherwise, he would not cherish his life. Let's go, Chen said. At this time, Chen's task was completed, and he got 2 blue lottery cards. Liu Wuma's revenge was avenged. As for who is behind Enikon, it will be up to others to investigate, and it has nothing to do with him. He plans to go back tomorrow and report the news to Mirren King Chen. The two left quickly. After they left for a while, the servant hiding in the mansion heard no movement inside, and after a long time, he entered the wing room. Looking at Enikon lying on the ground, he exclaimed. Soon, the death of Enikon spread throughout the Lingnan prefecture, especially the great elder of Changhan Palace who has been paying attention to Enikon. He looked at the letter that had just been passed in front of him. His eyes condensed. He was killed by a sword and his body was poisoned. The other party's sword was sharp, and it should not be poisoned. That means that Enikon's body is poisoned, and he is controlled by someone. Thinking of this, the great elder felt a chill in his heart. He calmed down and put the letter down. Is it the special envoy who did it, or someone else? With the poison under control, the people behind Enikon shouldn't do it. But the special envoy's strength is such that Enikon can't be killed. Could it be that the royal envoy's people did it? The elder thought to himself. Chen returned to the inn. Looking at the 2 blue lottery cards he got, he drew them directly. He hoped to draw a character. Now he wants to create the Kinglan Club, and he needs some manpower. Get the character card Jing Wuming. Get the character card A Fei. Hearing this voice, Chen's eyes were stunned. Both of them are sword wielding characters, and they are also sword masters who pursue a one sword kill. Checking the strength of the two, they are in the middle stage of the soul refining realm, and are about to reach the late stage of the soul refining realm. Looking at the strength of these two people, although they are in the middle stage of the soul refining realm, they are fighting for life and death. And it is estimated that even the peak of the soul refining realm will have to be careful. If these two people get into the Kinglan Club, they will definitely make the Kinglan Club famous. Summon these two people directly. Bring the token and let them reunite with Zyokyushu. Zyokyushu has never appeared before, so he can temporarily appear in secret as the 12th Hall Master of the Kinglan Society. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.